not mistaken, we should be live. And now we're officially live. Hello everyone. I hope everyone is doing amazing, and welcome back to today's live show. So we had a little bit of a delay. We're 6 minutes late. I had some troubles with the whole camera setup. My apologies for the delay, but let's just dive in. My apologies if I got caught off guard there for a second. So all right, cool. So welcome to today's live show. Obviously, as we did yesterday, the whole point of this is that I'm currently creating a course, a brand new course, where I teach people how to generate recurring revenue using automated email sequences. That's basically the gist of it. And before I even dive in, I'd love to hear if you were here yesterday or if you were not here yesterday. Could you please let me know, yes, I was here, or I wasn't here, so I have a little bit of an idea where, what the current audience is. That would be amazing. And while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna make sure I'm all prepped up, because as I mentioned, I had some technical issues, so I had to reboot basically, and just making sure that everything is set up so we can dive in and making sure everyone can actually hear me. Cool. Yes. Cool, there's chats coming in, and just so you know, as I mentioned yesterday also, cool, that's all getting there. As I mentioned yesterday also, is that there's a little bit of a delay between what I'm saying and when you receive it. So whenever I ask a question, it's possible that I'll just keep talking for a little bit before I dive into the comments. And also, as I mentioned yesterday, I'm the worst multitasker in the world. So if I just ignore the comments for a while, that's just because if I do check the comments, I'm usually caught off guard as well, obviously because it's not my main language, right? Cool, I see a lot of chats going on. A lot of people were there. A lot of people, also quite a few missed it. They were not here, which is totally fine. Let me just go to my notes because I want to make sure I don't forget anything. So without further ado, let me just first real quick summarize what we've done yesterday, so everyone sort of knows what's happening. So yesterday I started the creation of this new course. As I mentioned before, it's how to generate recurring revenue using a simple yet little known email strategy. And yesterday I already created various videos, and basically what I've been talking about so far is that, like, for a long time, after I started with email marketing, after I started sending out emails, to your list in order to try to get more customers, initially what I always did is I send out broadcast emails, which means that you send out an email, you type the email, and you hit send, and it goes out to everyone, right? Now, that on itself isn't necessarily wrong, but there are some things that there are some issues with that model, and still it's good to still do it, but I'm just saying that's the reason why I'm doing this course, that you shouldn't be fully relying on just broadcast emails. It's still part of the strategy, but that's not all. And in this course I'm focusing on the parts that are not as outside of just the broadcast, and just ways how we can do it better. Because the problem with these broadcasts, there's multiple things. First of all, you're sending out a message to everyone at the same time, right? And it could be that, for someone it's the right message, but someone it's the right message, but not at the right time. Maybe they're not interested yet, but in 3 months from now, they're going to be interested. Or maybe it's just not the right person. Like, there's all kinds of things. And even if you send out a broadcast message, even if it would be an epic high converting email, right? Best case scenario is that you send out the email, you get a bunch of clicks and replies, and maybe people buy your product or your service, or maybe people sign up for your training, whatever you'd like people to get done. But after that email, that's sort of gone. Like, you put in all the effort to write that email, but it's only working for your business for a short amount of time, basically. And what we're doing here is making sure that whenever you add emails, whenever you write emails, they're going to work for your business long term. I've got emails that are working for my business. I wrote them a couple of years ago. In fact, one of the emails, I think it's almost 3 years ago since I wrote it, and I'm still sending it out. And I think you'll see why it's actually a good thing, right? And the best thing is because we're focusing on automated emails here, because we're making sure that certain emails go out at a certain time when it's right for that person, we're going to make sure that we're automatically send out the right message to the right person at the right time, right? And obviously I cannot summarize the whole, like all the details from yesterday. I wish I could, but then again, I would be standing here for 2.5 hours again, just before we're getting started for today. But basically, what the whole goal is of these emails is to get people through the buyer's journey. In other words, when someone signs up, right? When someone enters their email address, for example, if you are using a viral, you're building up your email list. Like, how do you make sure that someone, after they join your email list, they want to become a customer of you? How do we make sure that they actually go to that phase? It's not like you send people, like people opt in and you're going to say, hey, awesome, thank you. Here's an offer, here's a discount, buy my stuff, right? Some people may respond to that, let's be honest, but that's not the best way. You need to think of like, where are they at? Like, because when they opt into your email list, most likely they don't know, like, and trust you or your brand yet, right? So you want to make sure that they get to know, like, and trust you. They are aware of the problem they have and that you can actually solve it, because every business, whether it's B2B or B2C or e-com or you're in coaching, you solve a certain problem, right? People need to be aware that you solve that problem, and then at the right time you want to make them, you basically you're forcing them to make a buying decision, whether that's yes or no. But you're forcing them to make the decision instead of just saying, well, maybe at some point, at the right time. That's important. And that's sort of where we're at. For those who were there, did I sort of summarize that correctly? Let me know in the comments. That would be amazing. And just so you know, for those who weren't here, like below this video, you should see your own unique invite link as well to this event. So your friends can actually enter their email address. So I just want you to know, like, as soon as 3 of your friends actually enter their email address, you will get an awesome tool that we created, and it actually has various email automations. I'll show you a quick demo of that in just a little bit. Where basically, as soon as 3 of your friends actually sign up, you will get access to that tool. Plus, the more friends that sign up through your link, the higher chance you have to winning some cool stuff. So we're giving away a cool t-shirt, as well as a Viral Pro for those who don't have a Viral yet, for a whole year. During this call as well. Again, the more people that you have referred, the more friends have signed up through your unique invite link, the higher chance you have. So that means, if you haven't shared it yet, do it now. What else? Oh yeah, I just wanted to thank a couple people as well. Like, there's a ton of people who've been sharing. There's a ton of people who've been sharing our link on social media, and obviously I cannot check everything. Like, I cannot see all of your Facebook profiles or all your LinkedIn profiles, but I can see who tagged me on Twitter, for example. And I saw quite. Let me just open that up. I saw quite a few people. There we go, sharing this event on Twitter. And as you can see, I'm not sure if you can all see it, but like, there's a ton of people, like Sandra right here, Kim right here, Jane right here, Gerard right here, B Ranger right here, JC, the hands, like Erin, Jerry, Miles, Roman, Jane, like, it just keeps on going, right? Actually, my laptop is super slow right now. Martin, Imtiaz, Jerry's, Duke, Rivi, and I can just keep on going, but as you can see, there's a ton of people who've been sharing this on Twitter, not just Twitter, but everywhere. So I want to thank all of you. I really do appreciate it, and don't take it for granted. But of course, that is what happens if you use a Viral. So for those of you who don't have a Viral yet, we don't know what it is. I'll talk more about that later. But that's not the main goal of this call, because we're here to learn. And with that having said, let me just go through my notes. I think it's time to just dive in, because yesterday I created 6 videos in total. Right now we're actually doing quite a bit more, so I want to pick the pace up a little bit. And with that having said, I want to make sure that you have your notebook ready, because I think you're gonna need it. My apologies, just before I get thirsty. Now, just making sure that everything is all good in the live chat. Cool, awesome. Awesome. Whew. All right, so for those who weren't here, one more thing yesterday that I mentioned is that how this is going to work is I'm literally going to create the course. I'll do it using the screen. And normally I do this all on my own, right? I'm here in my studio and I can just, record, and then I make a mistake and I record it again. And usually it takes me quite a few times before I actually get it right. Perhaps I'm too much of a perfectionist, or I just mess up too often, right? Either one of those two, it's probably somewhere in the middle. But with all of you watching here, obviously I cannot allow myself to make any mistakes, or at least as minimum as possible. If I do make any mistakes while I'm recording the video for the course, I'll just stop and I'll start at the beginning of the sentence. So if you think like, dude, why does he say that same thing two or three times? That's because we'll just cut that out in the editing for the actual course. And if I do this in between a video while I'm recording for the course, that's for you and me, right? That's not part of the course. And that's so our team, the video editing, Geoffrey is editing all of this. He'll know like, all right, this is not part of the course. This is just, for him as editing, or as a little one-on-one time between you and me in between the creation of the video. So I'll be talking to all of you live, and sometimes I'll be doing like the video. That is the setup, making sure everything is in focus and the camera is recording. Got my camera connected to my phone right here to make sure. And I would say we're just gonna do a video. And Mitch is now with his own name. That's way easier. At least we see here Mitch. That's good. He was giveaway rocket yesterday. He's always a good guy in the Facebook community. If you're not a part of the Facebook group, by the way, look at Facebook, search for Viral, you'll find our group. It's an awesome community. All right, cool. Let me just prepare. Where is my live stream? While I'm, so yesterday, the last video we did was the introduction video of the winning campaigns, right? So I went through, basically in the first foundation videos, it was all about the theory and like how to write a good email, some formulas for like how to write a good copy, how to write a good email, the 3R model, all of that. And today we're going to dive into, what I'm going to record, is going to dive into the winning campaign section. Let me see, yeah. And what I'm going to do once I'm starting, I'm going to go through 5 different sequences. And I'll explain what they are during the course, but this is just for you and me live. Indoctrination sequence, the value sequence, the special offer sequence, the webinar follow-up sequence, and the abandoned cart sequence. Now, what I want to make clear is that those sequences it's not just about those sequences, but inside each of those sequences, I put all kind of little, I would call them hacks or strategies or tactics that you can use for any other email, right? So, but I just use these as the foundation, but inside each of these, there will be various tricks, which you will see as well. So I'm just gonna start off with the introduction to the indoctrination sequence. So basically, this is a separate section. These are gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos that I'm gonna create for this section. Then we're gonna go into the value sequence, multiple videos there, etc., etc., etc. Cool? All right. I hope that's all clear. I'll do it like that so you can all see it live in a bit more, a bit more clear. That would be better, obviously. And I'll just have to get into the game. Whew. People are probably laughing at me when I do that, but hey, it's my show. If I want to dance, I can dance. Let's get started with the first video for today, the indoctrination sequence. What do you, so now I'm by the way starting. So what do you do when you meet someone like in real life? Do you just say like, hey, here's all my stuff? Or do you actually introduce yourself first? Well, obviously it's the latter, right? You want to make sure people actually know you, know who you are. You want to be nice and actually introduce yourself. Well, online, if I opt into someone's list, oftentimes I'm just being, I don't really know them, right? I get whatever I opted in for, but I don't know the person or I don't know the brand behind it. And what I want to do in this video is I want to give you an outline of what we do with our indoctrination sequence. And actually, this sequence, it's super easy because it's only one email, but it's super powerful. And the way we do this is that every time someone opts into our list, I send out one specific email, and the whole goal of this email is to establish a relation of trust, actually letting people know who I am, who the brand is, so they know what to expect. Because if you're just some kind of a faceless brand, it's hard to relate to that. So specifically, obviously there's many places in your business maybe as well where people could enter their email address, right? So for example, maybe you have a viral campaign, or maybe you have a webinar where people can enter their name and email address and they opt in. Now, the first thing you're obviously going to do is you're going to send out whatever they opted in for. If it's a webinar, you're going to send them a confirmation, hey, congrats, you signed up for the webinar. If it's a download and freebie, you're going to say, awesome, here's your freebie. If it's in a viral campaign, you're going to say, awesome, you joined our campaign, keep on sharing, right? That is obvious, right? But in this sequence, I'm making sure throughout my whole business, if someone opts into my list, and it doesn't matter whether it's on a webinar or whether it's on some kind of a freebie, they always get my first welcome email roughly 30 minutes after they entered their email address for the very first time. And the whole goal of this is to be personal and just be more than a faceless brand. And actually, I want to show you my email as a source of inspiration. Let me just move that over so it's all good. And of course, you don't have, hold on, fixing that. And it goes without saying that the whole point of this is not to copy my email, but it's just to inspire you to write something similar. So again, 30 minutes after someone opts into my list, regardless of what that is, they would get this email. Hey, I don't believe we've met, right, Wilco? That means you've given your email to a stranger on the internet. You better watch out, haha. And that's where I try to keep it like personal, right? Seriously though, I'd love to know what you're up to. In case you don't recognize my name, you signed up to my email list earlier today, so I figured to reach out. In addition, I prepared a gift for you as well. See, and then there's a YouTube link where I just share value. But in that video, and you can check that out as well, I'll add a link below this video, I will actually tell them my story and try to build a connection with them. I don't just pick a random video, it's chosen very carefully. You get the 5 most crucial lessons I've learned by building various 7-figure businesses, and unlike me, you don't have to spend 15 years of hard work to discover them. In other words, I give them a clear outcome. If I just say like, hey, here's a video, but I make sure that it's clear what they're gonna get from it, right, from their perspective. I mean, now that you're on my email list, I'll gladly teach you all my nitty-gritty strategies about driving traffic, conversions, funnels, automations, etc. But none of that really matters if you don't have these 5 things in place. What I'm doing here is I'm making clear that making sure people know what to expect from me. They know they're in the right place if they're interested in any of those things. And if they're not interested in any of those things, then maybe they are not in the right place. But at least now they know what to expect from me and what the basis is of our relationship. And yes, this applies in every niche, market, and country, even in the Netherlands. So definitely watch it. On a final note, welcome to the family. I'm excited you've signed up. Have a great day. Wilco de Kraai. And P.S. to make sure you don't miss any of the future tips and strategies, please whitelist this email address by adding it to your contact. And PPS, I added a Dutch sentence. Now, this email may or may not seem special, but inside this email, I've actually used various tactics that may not be as obvious to the outside. So in the next couple of videos, I'm gonna dive into these tactics one by one, explain you exactly how you can actually use that, and explain you exactly how to do that. Come on, sorry for that. Oops, the mouse there. And explain exactly how to set them up as well. That wasn't good, but we'll get that edited. Sorry for that. So just to give you, let me just open this one up. I'm just getting this right for all of you so you can all see it as well for those who are live. So to get you a little bit of an idea of what I did in this email, the items that I marked red right here are personalized for everyone, right? So it's the name, obviously. This sentence right here, in case you don't recognize my name, you signed up to my email list, that is not the same for everyone, right? It depends on them specifically. Even in the Netherlands, that's targeted specifically for them. And even the last two PPS, they're all unique. So inside this email, even though it seems like just an email to establish the relationship, I've also added various tricks to make sure I grab their attention and make it even more personal than I would normally be able to do it without these clever things. So I'll show you these things in the next couple of videos. All right, that honestly wasn't my very best video. I'll have to be honest about that. Normally I would reshoot it and redo it and retweak it. We're just gonna edit it out, the parts that where I made some mistakes, and probably clean it up a little bit. But that is just between you and me, the email. And probably, if you're on my list, you probably have seen that email. Actually, in fact, I'd be curious, like, who still remembers getting that email? Because this email I wrote a couple years ago, right? And I'm still sending it out to this day. And it's like, whenever someone opts into my list for the first time, so if you just got in touch with me through this campaign and you entered your email address over the last couple days, then you would have received this email with that and that video as well. In fact, I've used that video on the sign up page of this whole event as well. So if you go to emailhackinglive.com, on the opt-in page, you'll see the exact same video, where the 5 tips that I share. And in that video, I'll try to build a connection. So it's not just a random video. This is, how I try to do things. I try to be personal as well, where people feel a connection. And of course, this is not always easy to do online. But if we don't try, we're not going to succeed as well, right? So this sequence is all about, getting that first initial connection. And like this, one email is not going to build trust. Like, let's be real here. Like, that's not going to be like, oh yeah, this guy, I need to follow him, or this brand, I need to follow him. Like, you cannot do that with one email, but you can start that process in that email. And this way, you're going to make sure that their very first experience with you or your brand, is going to be a positive one. I think that's important. Now, before I jump over to the next video, I see people who got the email yesterday. Jesper, that's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Sheila remembers it. Homebrew Audio, you got it. Import Export Professionals, you got it last week. That's awesome. Quite a few people got that email, which is exactly the point. I'm doing that for a reason. And that is really at the start when people opt in, the first, connection they'll get. Now, as I mentioned in the video I just recorded, there are some things that, let me just clean this up. Boom. I just need to make sure I'm going to the right section for the next video, because I want to dive in. So now what I'm going to do is I used a couple things let me just zoom in so you can actually see what's going on here. In the introduction sequence, as I mentioned, I'm using a couple things, and I'm going to shoot 4 videos about each of those things. Again, these tactics you can use in any of your emails. I want to share as much value as I can. I'm using them in this email, but you can use them in any email, right? To make sure that people feel like, oh, this is the right email for me, right? Anyway, so let's dive into the personalization video. Let's just keep on going with the content, because you're all here to get it behind the scenes on the actual content, right? So let me start prepping and just checking my notes as well. Actually, I'm going to skip that part. Oops. Sometimes I use the wrong keywords, and now, as you can see, for those who are on Mac, this is like loading. Dude, I have to wait until it's solved. My apologies for that. You know what? Real quick, it's already there. Oh, and now it's doing it again. You know what? I'm so sorry for the delay. I want it to be smooth and not like this. All right, I'm just gonna start with the second video Let's do it. So in the last video, I showed you my indoctrination email, and in that email, I marked various sections red where I mentioned like, hey, for every person, that section is actually different. And in this video, I want to show you how I've done that exactly, like what kind of things I've used in order to make sure the email, it just feels more like the receiver will be more connected with your email. It will grab their attention. And that's what's done using what's called personalization. And using personalization, like I said, it will grab their attention and it will also reassure people that they're in the right place, right? And the most basic version of personalization in email, and that's something that a lot of people will already know, is their name. So instead of saying, hey, there, or like, hey, you, it would actually say, hey, Brian, hey, Wilco, hey, Mark, hey, whoever is there with their name. And that's the most common way of using personalization in email. And even though it is very common, and I highly recommend you to do that. But there are some things that are they just go a little bit further, and it makes your email stand out even more. And the way we do this is by thinking and asking ourselves like, hey, what information do we already have from our lead, from everyone who subscribed? What information do we currently have, or could we have, that we could use to further improve and further personalize the email, where people would say like, hey, he's talking to me, right? And so in the email that I showed you, I've used a couple of different things. Let me just show you them right here. Let me just move it to all of you guys for this so you can actually see it. Just making sure you can it fits into your screen. To make sure, so cool, let's go. So in this email, as I mentioned, I used their name, right? So I said, I don't believe we've met, right, Wilco, right, James, right, Maria, right? And that's, again, obvious. What I also done is I used their location, right? And so I said, and yes, this applies to every niche, every market and country, even in the Netherlands, even in Germany, even in Spain. And so definitely watch it. And the reason why I mentioned it like this is it has a good reason, because if I would say, hey, I saw you were from Germany and awesome, you know, I like people from Germany, then it is kind of obvious that, you know, it is personalization. It is kind of obvious that you've added it in, because let's be honest, in many markets, people are familiar that this is possible, right? But because I didn't say it was about them. I said, basically as an example, even in Germany, even in United States, even in Spain or Guatemala or where people are from. And this sentence right here, we got a lot of replies from it, because literally people were replying to our email saying, awesome, like I felt that this was really for me, because I am from Germany, right? And that shows you that it helps you to stand out. And this is not trickery or anything, like this is part of pretty much every autoresponder. Again, I'm using ActiveCampaign myself, but it doesn't really matter whether you are using, for example, Aweber or MailChimp, or any other system. Most autoresponders will allow you to add in their location, their country, where they're from, and your autoresponder will know that based on their IP address. Now, the third thing I've done as well is their last action, and that's something that requires a little bit more of a setup. I'll show you that later on. So basically, whenever someone opts into my email list, I'm saving that information, like, hey, they signed up for a webinar, for example, my traffic webinar. Then someone else opts in, and they opt in to download a certain ebook, let's say a Facebook ads ebook, right? So I save in our database, I save it like, hey, they opted in for the Facebook ads ebook, for example, right? So for every person, I will know what the thing is they opted in for, right? Because what's going to happen is once they receive my indoctrination email, if I have that piece of information, it will actually say, in case you don't recognize my name, you signed up for my traffic webinar earlier today, so I figured to reach out. And that makes sure that they think like, that confirms that that's the email for them. It's not like, even if they wouldn't recognize my name, Wilco de Kraai, then still they'll be like, oh, that's from that email that, you know, I opted in for, right? And you can obviously use that in later on as well. Even if I would send an email a week later, hey, by the way, thanks again for downloading my ebook last week. Hey, thanks again for signing up for my webinar last week, right? As an example. And that is what we do. Again, this needs a little bit of an extra setup, which I'm going to show you in another video, exactly how to do that. But this is more about the ideas, using whatever information you have and making sure your email is more targeted towards your lead or your recipient from the email. I should be more shorter, to be honest, but we'll clean that up. I hope you'll excuse me for that. So to implement this into your business what you need to do is start mapping out like what information do you have from every lead. And in my case, so in order to use this in your business, the first thing you need to do is ask yourself, hey, what information do I have from everyone who subscribes to my email list? And this could be things like, for example, their first name, their last name, if you're collecting that information, or what did they do to opt into, right? Or what's their location, for example, their country, or even what is their email service provider. And I'll show you that in the next video. It's a real cool trick as well. And once you have a bit of an idea, then you can ask yourself like, hey, where can I use that, right? Because obviously you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to send out every day an email or every week an email where you say like, hey, glad I got people from Germany on my list or people from the Netherlands, because that is obviously like, that's not going to stand out that much. A name you can always use, but some things you want to make sure it's relevant to the email you're sending, but it's good to be aware of that. Now, obviously, even though you have an idea of what you could personalize, you need to actually set that up. So in a later video, I'll show you exactly how to do that with ActiveCampaign, which is the system I'm using. But right now it's really about the idea itself. And in the next video, I'm going to give you a good idea for what I mentioned as well for the email service provider to further improve your indoctrination email using some very cool personalization systems. Tricks. Geoffrey, let's make that tricks. That's for my editor. I need to up my game here, but I'm doing my best, everyone. Let me just go back to the chat. So that was the second video. Cool. Is this good stuff? By the way, let me know so I know that I'm on the right track. And just so you know, I got a ton of feedback from yesterday, like awesome comments on Facebook, on our email, on the support desk. Unfortunately, I've not been able to get it back to everyone myself, but I did ask my team, like, send me, like, show me. So I read a lot of your messages. So I just want to say thank you, because I really do appreciate the kind words. And just, you know, I'm standing here in my studio spending hours talking to all of you, and just the fact that you're like saying thank you, that means a lot to me. So I really do appreciate it. And just so you know, we're gonna obviously raffle this shirt later, as well as an account to Viral Pro. And real quick, for those who haven't done that yet, as soon as, like I said, as soon as 3 of your friends sign up through your unique invite link, you're gonna get a free tool. And I wanna make sure you actually know what that tool is. So I'm gonna play a quick video for you where I show you that tool, and then we're gonna dive into the next video. That's just so you know what to expect as soon as 3 of your friends sign up for this event. So let me just play that video right now. So here's the in-house tool that I mentioned, the one that you'll get as soon as 3 of your friends sign up through your invite link. So in here, there's various proven automations or email sequences, however you want to call them, that have proven to work really, really well for us. So there's basically a swipe file that you can just use and copy if you want. So for example, let me just open one for an example. You can just add in some questions. So for example, your product name, let's say Viral, Cry, what type of product is, for example, software, right? So the questions depend on the sequence. Hit save, and now as you can see, it's already added in. You'll see exactly when to send it out, what the email should say. You can even download it right here. So you will have a text file that you can just copy into your email autoresponder with your name and everything in there. So we're planning on adding more sequences there as well. It's all in here. And again, you will get access to that as soon as 3 of your friends sign up through your unique invite link. So if you can share this even right now, that would be amazing. So share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, wherever you think someone else would join and benefit this live stream that we're currently doing. That would be amazing. So thank you in advance. Cool. So again, for those who haven't shared yet, just totally optional. I just want to say that I do appreciate it. And while I played you that video, I totally forgot something. We had this awesome thing prepared that once the live cast would start, I was able to do this. Hey, it's Wilco the Cry here, and it would actually show up real cool and neat like that. Totally forgot that. So I'm just adding it right now for fun's sake, because we created it, so why not? And for those who don't know how to do all of this, let me actually show you. We're doing this with OBS. Some people asked me yesterday, hey, how do you live stream? We do that with OBS. That is the system, so I can actually choose which camera to use. So for example, front camera, if I click there, then boom, it's the camera. Right here, we've got a small webcam, so I can go back right here. And this way I can change whatever you are seeing. And again, that is called OBS. I'm not sure if you can see it. There it is, OBS. It's free, which is good. I'm Dutch, and Dutch people love free stuff. And that's why in the US, I believe people say something like, we go Dutch, and that means they split the bill. I'm not sure if that's something we should be proud of. But yeah, we like free stuff. Anyway, that's a story for another day. You know, interesting fun fact, real quick, just if for those who are interested in like cultural differences, you know, how do I put it? Probably a lot of you have seen the 2 Comma award from Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels, right? Like it's the reward that they send out is as soon as you, like basically if one of your funnels does over $1 million, right? And I personally, I don't use ClickFunnels a lot. In fact, for this campaign I am, but I don't use it frequently. But a couple of years ago, I was using it, and so I got like, they sent me the 2 Comma Club award. And what I noticed, it's interesting, like in a ton, like I use it in some of my ads. Like I have to be completely honest, I've used it in a couple of my ads. But whenever I look at some cultures, they're like very like putting it out there, like, hey, I got this award. And like I received it 2 years ago, and it is still in a box somewhere. I would never put that on the wall, because it sort of feels like I'm like showing off or something like that. And that's very much how we Dutch people are. We don't really like to show off, and I've learned to do that a bit more, because sometimes it's good for marketing purposes. Anyway, that's just a cultural difference. Like it's still in the box. I don't know why. Anyway, that's not related, and that's not why you're all here. So let's keep on moving, because I got a cool trick for all of you prepared. Let me just, where's my mouse? This should go all the way over here. This should be minimized, and then we'll dive into the whitelist hack. That's the next video that I'm gonna do, and this is something that I think some of you will like. Cool. Bumpy dum. Let's get on with this. Cool. So we're going for the third video of today. One of the, obviously, I need to just have a good start of the video, sorry for that. It's kind of obvious that your email should actually end up in your audience's email inbox for it to have any effect, right? In case you send out an email or any automated emails and they go into the spam box of your audience, it's not going to do you any good. Or if they go into Gmail's promotion tab, the chances of them actually opening it they're reduced, right? It's lower than usual. So what do you do to make sure your emails get opened? What do you do to make sure your emails get actually into their inbox? Well, there's obviously a lot of things you can do, but there's two main important factors that will help you a lot. The first one is to get whitelist. Now, this is not an easy thing to do, and basically what it means is that someone would add you to their address book, or they would mark your emails as like important. That is not as obvious because it's hard to get people to do that. And the second one is to get people to reply to your email, right? If people actually reply to your email, you'll have a much higher likelihood to actually get opened. Hey, I just thought of a cool trick. I wanted to share it to all of you privately. For those of you who have a support email address, right? If you have an address, an email address, where your customers or your potential customers or your audience are sending you emails to, right? So in my case, that could, for example, be support@aviral.com, because if someone has a question about Aviral, they send us an email, right? If you have an email address like that, where people are sending, I'm doing this because, editing this out of the course, this is just for us. If you have an email address like that, what you should do is you should send out emails from that email address, because the chances of actually hitting the inbox is much higher, because the Gmail, Hotmail, and all those providers, they're looking at your email reputation, and the more people send you an email, they're like, this is actually, there's something in it. There's not just someone who's just spamming and sending out emails, but this is actually like a living, breathing thing, or I'm not sure how they exactly think, but what we notice is that when we send out emails from a support email address, so an address where people send emails to, then, and if we use that for our sending emails, the chances of like our open rates, the percentage of people that open the email, and thus how often it lands into their inbox, it's way better. So that's just a quick trick in between. Send emails from your support address if you have that. That's sort of behind the scenes. Cool. Now I need to get back into the video. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, getting whitelisted isn't easy, right? It's not. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, getting whitelisted. Now, obviously, I already mentioned, obviously. Getting whitelisted, it's not easy, right? Sometimes you'll opt into an email list and they would say something like, hey, whitelist our email address, but it's not really clear what people should do. So what I've done in my indoctrination email is something different. I'm making sure that the footer of that email will give specific instructions based on what they are using. So if someone is reading my email and they're on a Hotmail address or a live address, live@live.com, they would see something like, to make sure you don't miss any future blah blah blah, please add this to the important category, and I add an image of what it looks like inside of their email system, so they know exactly what that is. But if someone opens that exact same email, like if someone is subscribed to my list, and they get the exact same email, but they are using Gmail, for example, then they get an image to see exactly like, hey, what do I need to do? I need to drag it over to the primary folder, and it actually says that. Drag this email into your primary Gmail folder. In other words, I'm giving them specific instructions based on what provider they are using. Let me just make sure that all of you who are live can see it as well, so it's actually in the screen. I'll move it down once I get to that section. Cool. So the way I've done that inside ActiveCampaign is I've created a text block, and I'll show you how to set it up in another video in this course, where I say to make sure, the actual instructions for Gmail. And then I click on the options and I say manage conditions. And this makes sure that this specific block right here only goes out if that condition is met. Now I'm going to scroll down for the people who are live. And inside those conditions, I say, well, only show this section if their email address contains gmail.com, right? If in their email address says gmail.com, then I know they are on Gmail. And personally, I've only done this for the major systems like Gmail and Live or Outlook. But obviously, you can go more in depth if you wanna. You could obviously Google for like the top 10 email systems right now, because obviously it changes over time. But even just the two main ones, Gmail and Outlook/Live/Hotmail, those combined are already will cover a big part of your email list these days. Now, And in line with that, and if you want to use this same trick to get more responses, there's a little sneaky way to get more replies that I've used here and there sometimes as well. So in some of my emails, I've added a PS, and I made sure that that PS would only be shown to people, for example, on Gmail, right? And it would say something like, hey, if you've heard, I've heard that for some Gmail users, these emails end up in their spam box. If you're using Gmail and reading this, could you hit reply and let me know? Now, obviously, this is a bit of the gray area, so I'm currently not using it myself because obviously this sort of feels like trickery, but I'm sharing this with you to share basically as a source of inspiration, because something like this, it's a perfect example that making something exactly related to them, because they will feel like, hey, but I'm on Gmail, let's reply. But obviously, if someone would be on Hotmail or on Live, it would be with their system, right? Hey, there's emails going to spam in Hotmail. Hey, I'm in Hotmail, like, let me reply because I'm actually getting it, right? So obviously this is not something I'd recommend one-on-one. It is a bit of trickery, so it depends on how you want to position your brand. But the main goal of this video is to make clear that you can customize some parts of your email based on what email system they're using, right? Such as Gmail or Live. And again, in a later video, I'll show you exactly how to set that up. Cool, that was that video. Hopefully someone got a good use of this. Is someone already doing this? I'm not sure. Thanks, Kim. I appreciate that a lot. Lynn, yep, I'm not allowed to brag in the Netherlands. Mitch is wearing his viral shirt. Cool, yeah, he won recently, which is awesome. Let me just actually switch to the main camera. Cool. So let's keep going, I would say. Let's do one more video and then I'm gonna raffle a prize. That would be good. Let me just, it's not doing what I wanted to do. So that was the whitelist hack. And we're gonna dive into, sorry for this, for the delay, everyone. Next video is gonna be really short. Again, these videos are for, it's not working, are also for inspiration to see how we can further personalize our emails using clever automation. For those who paid attention if you've paid attention to my indoctrination email, then you may have seen the very last sentence, which was actually in Dutch. It said something like, PPS, blijft toch altijd extra leuk als er een landgenoot erin schrijft, haha. Which basically means, like, it's extra fun if there's like someone from my own country who opts into my email list. That's basically what it says. And this is basically what I call the language hack. So if you want to be super specific or super personal or personalized, I have to say, to your audience, and if you have a business that operates in multiple languages, right, or at least you in multiple countries, like for example, in my case, I do everything in English, as you probably know, while I am from the Netherlands, so I also speak Dutch. So I made sure that there's a certain section inside of my ActiveCampaign where I put the condition, hey, if the geo country, if their location, their country contains Netherlands, right? If it actually is the Netherlands, so only people who are from the Netherlands will see that section. I'm actually writing a certain area, like one line that's in our own language. Just, it makes it a little bit more personal. Now, obviously, you want to make it a personal thing. You don't want to say in Dutch, for example, hey, thanks, here's, I've got a special offer, buy my product, because that would be kind of lame. You want to make sure that it is something that will create, again, build that relationship with people. That's all I really care about in that initial phase. Make sure there is a connection with your audience and you or your brand. And obviously this is not for everyone. This is just for those who work in over multiple countries with multiple languages. But if that is you, then this is something that could be very powerful. And sometimes I use this in broadcast emails as well, where I just add a little section like PS for, for those who speak Dutch, and obviously that would be all in Dutch. And I'll just add something that makes it more personal, because it's like, I'm special compared to everyone else, which they are. Dutch people are special in their own little weird way, I guess. But right now I made the mistake. I was doing it as if I was live, but obviously I was doing the video for the course, and that's hard to mix up when I'm doing a live presentation like that. So my apologies for that. So I'll just redo the last part. Sorry for that. Now, obviously, this is not for everyone, but for those who are working in multiple countries with multiple languages, this is definitely something you can use to increase that bonding with your audience for those who are from the same country or the same language as you are. All right, that would be a better ending of the video. Sorry for that. It's always like, that's the thing when going live. I hope you all excuse me for that. And by the way, if you want to see what I've got on my screen, because I did not change my screen, here you go. So basically the condition is like, hey, if the geo country contains the Netherlands, then they will see this right here. Why is that keep showing up? So, all right. That was a bit of a shorter video. So right now, just to sort of summarize, we've talked about the indoctrination sequence. I showed you my first email, which is all about bonding. And I shared various tricks, right? The personalization, just general, adding the name, adding things like their the location, but also like based on what email provider they use, make sure you have like a certain, in your first email or the first day email, you add something like, hey, if you're in Gmail, drag this over to your main folder, the language hack as well. And that would bring me to the implementation video. Now, I do have, let me just go back to this screen. I do have some bad news for those who are watching live. My apologies for that. I was hoping to do the implementation video. The implementation video is the video where I actually show in my ActiveCampaign account exactly how to set everything up for those who are using ActiveCampaign, right? And the reason why I have that separate is for multiple reasons. First of all, because I just know that, for example, with a system like ActiveCampaign, in half a year from now, for example, their interface is going to be different, right? Or like a year from now, it's going to change. So this way I can easily, after they've changed, I only need to change this one video where I share everything. Well, in all the other videos, the ones that you just watched, it's more about strategies and tactics that will, like, they basically, they're evergreen, right? They'll still work next year. I mean, most of these things I've been using for years, and they're like, I set them up once and that's it, right? And they're making sure my emails are more effective than they were without it. But the implementation, as I mentioned, will be on my screen while here on my laptop, right? Like. Problem is, I was gonna show this. Yeah. Problem is that I tried that in a test run, and my Mac is currently overloaded right now when I'm doing the live stream because of the multiple cameras, which means I cannot record my screen and go live because it is super slow. Oh, my camera! I'm just fixing up my camera. It is super slow. So unfortunately, I cannot show you inside my account how to do it, but I think like most of you will be able, like if you try, you'll be able to figure it out. It's also about the idea. So the implementation video, I'm not gonna record live, but instead that gives me more time to share more strategies and tips and tricks in the next couple of videos. So I hope that is cool. And by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it right now and I'll answer them. I'll do a quick winner selection as well. Let me just log into a Vyral. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them right now. And with that having said, I want to make sure that someone is going to win this. So again, for those of you who don't have a Vyral, totally should. It's the system that we use to build up our email list. It's the whole system that we use for this campaign to make sure people can actually share this on social media, and it will automatically keep track of like who referred who. So you can say things like, hey, if 3 of your friends sign up, you will get something for free, just like I'm doing with the tool. Or hey, if you invite your friends, if they actually sign up, you'll get a higher chance of winning and you can actually win something. And that's what we use to grow our list. So we've got plenty of people using it to grow their list as well. There's probably a lot of people right here on the call. Now I'm gonna pick a winner. I'm just gonna log into a Vyral. I wish I could show you, but that would, if I'm like while I'm picking the winner, but if I would show you my screen, I'd also show the email address of the winner, and that's for obvious privacy reasons, is not good. Now, again, I want to make sure that everyone's clear. I'm going to pick a winner, but I check the fraud detection later on. Enviral automatically checks if someone is trying to trick the system, and if I pick a winner and later on I check the fraud detection and it turns out that person tricked or tried to trick the system, you will not win, and we will pick another winner. So this, just to want to make sure that it's all clear. So I'm gonna click the button, pick a winner, and the winner is Susanna. And I think based on the email address, you are here. I think I saw your email address in the live chat. So I will get in touch with you, or my team will ask you for your email address to send you this t-shirt. If Susanna, I cannot reveal their email address, but it is something with sleep. If you're Susanna, then you'll know if that's you. So if you're the Susanna with something with sleep in your email address, then you are the winner. Let me check the comments. Natasha is asking, will there be a session on how to connect every sequence so that so people do not get a bunch of email at once? Yeah, I'm going to show you on my screen as well, but unfortunately I cannot do that live. So that's all going to be part of the course I'm creating, but unfortunately I wanted to do it live. But that's going to be part of the course. I'll be sharing some things to make sure that doesn't happen, because I totally get that that's a bit of a tricky thing. So just to give you an idea, where's my mouse? We are why is this all changing? So currently we're going through these winning campaigns right here. And so we did the foundation winning campaigns, and then after we go into the implementation part, which is like in here there will be some implementation, but here it's like basically connecting the whole system together to make sure it is rock solid. That is basically the idea. So that's the part of the outline. So that is going to be in the course. Let me just check if there's more questions. Cool. Mitch says he's done over 70 campaigns in Enviral, best tool on the planet. I appreciate you, and obviously I fully agree. And for those who don't know Mitch, he has been phenomenal value in the group. He's always helping out people. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Mitch for sure. Cool. What mind mapping armor am I using? I'm using MindNode. Cool. Can I record the implementation video? Like, that is a good question. Honestly, I'm still not 100% sure. So I'm recording this whole live and doing the whole course, but at the same time, like I'm gonna create the whole course, the final product. That's gonna be a paid product, right? We're selling that later on. So I want to be fair to those as well. I don't want someone who comes in a month later and like, hey, they're buying the course that we're creating right now, what we're gonna call the email hacking masterclass. And if someone would buy that course in a month from now, and they would later discover that everyone got everything for free. So there may be some parts, like we have some resources and extra PDFs and like the actual implementation videos. Right now I feel like that should only be part of the paid product. So I want to give as much value as I can to all of you for free, but I hope you understand. I want to be fair to everyone, so I want to have that distinction as well, right? I think it's important to be fair to everyone. So I'm going to try my very best to give you as much value as I can. I'll show you some implementation things as well, but I think that is the fair way of doing it. And with that having said, let's see if there's more question. William is asking, can we import the campaigns from the 3 Friends offer into our Enviral account? I'm not 100% sure if I understand your question, but actually a campaign like this, like I'm actually creating a video, I'm not sure where I'll post it, but it is pretty simple to create. It's actually what we've done. Basically what you should do is you'd add a reward to for those who have a Enviral, it will make sense. Actually, let me know. I have a video where I demo Enviral, like what it does, for those who don't have it yet. If you guys or girls feel I should play that video, let me know and I'll hit it up. if you're curious in that, if you're interested in that. But basically, for those who have or already have a viral, what you can do is add a reward, set it like you get it after you get 3 points. And then you get to the point section where you can give points for certain actions. Like, hey, if someone does this, then they get a point. And you only give 1 point for every single time someone refers one of their friends who enters an email address. And that means they'll need to have 3 of their friends to subscribe, and automatically the reward will be unlocked. Boom. And then you can, automatically send out an email or send out a tag to your active campaign or to your autoresponder, etc. All good. All right, there's quite a few people say play, or at least Ben says play, Import Export Professional says play. Scott, all right, cool. It is a bit longer video. It is like, I think, I'm not sure exactly how long. Again, I recorded the video instead of doing it on my screen because my screen is so slow. So I'll just play that video and then we'll dive back into this because I want to make sure all the videos are done. And I've got some really cool tricks to share with you that I think you're gonna love. So let me just hit up that video with the demo of a viral so everyone knows what a viral is all about. Let me just see, where is it? I need to still put it in there. Oops. Let me just quickly grab the video file. I need to load it into OBS for those who have used it. It is a bit, my apologies. I want it to be smoother than this. I'm loading up the file right now. All right, I think I got it. So let me give you a quick demonstration of what a viral actually looks like from the inside, right? The whole dashboard and all the options and things like that. Now, I'll keep it brief, so I won't go over all the options, but just to have a bit of an idea of what a viral actually looks like. So as you can see right here, this is my own campaign, my own account, sorry. Just collected just over 62,000 leads, which is the majority of our email list, which means that if you're on our email list, there's a good chance you've already seen it, right? And there's various campaigns that are right here in the bottom. This is just stuff we're testing or setting up. But let me just set up a test campaign. So as you already know, or I think you already know, this is the #1 list building tool, and you can use a viral to incentivize people to share and invite all of their friends, right? To make sure their friends will also sign up to your email list and will help you grow your business, right? And there's 2 ways you can do that. You can also use them at the same time. You can give incentives, right? So you can say like, hey, after you, for example, you get 5 of your friends to sign up, you maybe get for example, a 10% coupon code, right? So in case you want to use a coupon code, you can just add a whole list of coupon codes from Amazon or Shopify or any other system. If you have just 1 code, you can do that as well. But if you use multiple coupon codes, you can just add in a couple hundred coupon codes, and everyone will automatically get 1 of those coupon codes. So they cannot actually be shared with their friends. They'll have to unlock it in order to get that discount. And obviously you can add any kind of thing like a URL or download, send out an email. There's no limit whatsoever. You can add as many rewards as possible. You can also do a sweepstake. You can either do one or the other or do both, where you can say hey, automatically on a certain day, I want to pick 1 winner. Whoever has the most points will win, or you can do it at random to make sure that, hey, the more friends you actually get to sign up, the higher your chance of winning. And I want to do it at a certain day, boom, at this day, at this time. You can change your time zone, obviously. And after the campaign, after I pick a winner, I want to close it down, or maybe I just want to keep it open because I'm still using the rewards. Now we can also get into points, like what can they use to get points from their friends. For example, every single time one of their friends would sign up, boom, they would get a point. You can even give points for every visitor. I prefer to do it on a lead basis. You can also incentivize if they share on Facebook or Pinterest, etc. right away. Or, this is pretty cool, you can add any kind of custom action. So if you want people to join your messenger list, if you want people to follow you on Facebook, if you follow you on YouTube, if you want to follow you on Instagram, you can add that easily, right? And there's literally no limit whatsoever. So it's not just limited to this. If you want people to join your Facebook group, for example, if you want people to subscribe to your podcast, you can incentivize that as well. So you can give points like, hey, subscribe to our podcast, and then they will get points. Now, to do all of that, you can either run everything on UpViral, so you don't need to have your own website or anything at all, or you can embed our widget into your site, right? If you do have a website, or if you have any kind of system like ClickFunnels or Leadpages or Shopify or Instapage or WordPress or anything like that, you can do that as well. So let's say you want to do a widget, for example, you can select a template, and you can then fully customize that however you want, right? So you can change the coloring, you can just type stuff here. It's really that simple. You can have you can add multiple custom fields. So for example, if you want to say like, hey, what color is the sky? Or obviously you can add any other stuff, but you can make it required. You can ask for phone numbers, you can ask for like the location, stuff like that. You can also have a Facebook opt-in button, so people can log in with Facebook, which means that only if they have an actual Facebook account, they can actually sign up to your contest. Obviously, it's all GDPR approved as well, so you can have that enabled as well. Just gonna press save for now, right now. And after they opt in, after someone enters their email address, they can either, once again, you can choose between the two. Let's say we just want to use the widget as well. Let's say you go for the similar one. So you can then enable a widget. There's all kinds of flexibility. You can change this as much as you'd like. You can have it on WhatsApp. You can send them an email. You can have, there's a bunch of cool stuff. I won't go into all of that. There's a leaderboard, obviously, right? Terms and conditions, like obviously all fully customizable. For now, I'll just save it and continue. And you're also in full control of what they will actually share on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or email or any other network. So if they share the link, whatever you enter right here will actually show up on Facebook. And once they sign up, and this is really cool, you can send them automated emails, right? So right after they sign up, you can say like, hey, awesome, thanks for signing up. And there's like full customization and personalization in there as well, right? So thanks for signing up, Wilco. You have X amount of points. You need 3 more points. Like for example, you currently have 1 point. You need 4 points. There's 4 points left to unlock the next reward. Your unique infrared referral is blah blah blah. You can even add in, for example, one-click social sharing button. So like, boom, and this will actually change into a button if that would actually be sent. As you can see right here, and if people click there, then automatically they will share the message on Facebook with their unique invite link. So that's pretty cool. You can also send out an email. Let's say I invite one of my friend signs up. I will then get an email as well, like, hey, awesome, your friend just signed up. You only need 2 more points to unlock that reward. So keep on sharing. Send an email when a reward is unlocked, which you can do for any reward that we have. If they are a winner, if there's a possible fraud, you can also send an email like that as well. And obviously, also if you want to use double opt-in to make sure people have to confirm their email address before they actually are added into the system, you can do that as well. There's obviously templates for what you want to use for the emails. But for now, let's just keep on going to make sure you have a bit of an idea. Like you can make sure that all emails are obviously going into your autoresponder, whatever system you have. You can it fully supports tagging. Let me just show you that, like tagging. You can send over the invite links as custom fields. So as you can see, where someone actually is the winner, you can send out a tag. If they actually unlock a certain reward, you can send a tag. You can save all the custom fields to your autoresponder. Obviously, this is more for the advanced user, but just in case you wanted to know, it's all part of the package. Obviously, you can put everything on your own domain. You can use any of our domains. That's all fine. We have some webhooks for, once again, for more advanced users. There's some like advanced stuff like UTM tracking, so you can measure exactly what the revenue is that you're generating. And there's more stuff, like obviously for now, I just want to go over the sort of high level, so you can start promoting it right away. We even have, and this is pretty cool, a one-click sign up. So this means that, let's say you already have an email list. You can automatically send an email right now to your All right. Oh, I think I just cut the video slightly short. It was almost done. My apologies. That's what happens a lot. But that is what a viral is and how it works. And I saw some questions about it as well, and then we'll dive back in. So the in-house tool that you can get if you get 3 of your friends to subscribe to this campaign, Rawl, you won't find it in Upviral. It is separate. So once you get 3 of your friends to subscribe, you get a link to the tool. It's not in the platform. Murray says looks like a funnel. In a way, it is a funnel, but instead just being a funnel where it goes from one page. Actually, real quick, because I want to answer that one correctly and not confuse you more than I should. So when you say it works like a funnel, like obviously funnel is a sexy thing these days, right? So people like basically Russell Brunson, like he made the funnel more sexy and he used it like, oh, you need a funnel. Basically what a funnel is, it's guided steps on your site, like the first page, like opt-in page, right? And they enter their email address and then they go to the second page, which with Upviral would be the page where you have like their own unique invite link and an incentive to actually share. So a normal funnel would just go one step to the next, to the next. What we do though is like this invite link that everyone gets, make sure it links back here. So if someone enters their name and email address, they opt in, then here you'll have an incentive. For example, like what I'm doing right here, I'm giving you the incentive that as soon as 3 of your friends subscribe, you get this free tool, right? That I showed you earlier in the live cast. And also you have a higher chance of winning Upviral and a free t-shirt. So that's your incentive, and that's why a lot of you have been sharing, for which I'm grateful. And when you share your link on Facebook, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, etc., your friends will go to the opt-in page. So this way, people opt in, they share that with their friends, they go here, they opt in, they share with their friends. So it is a funnel, but what I call a viral loop. It keeps going in a loop because more people opt in, etc., etc. And that is the idea. It's not always the goal to go super viral, but this will help you to basically get your message out at places that you would otherwise never could, right? Like I've been sharing, I got quite a few people to share on, for example, WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger in like private chats. I would not be able to advertise there or show my message there. The only way I would be able to get my message out there in front of those people is using this viral loop. So with that having said, let's dive into some content because we're not here to waste any time. Cool. Get the television ready. I hope I didn't miss any questions. Maybe I have, but cool. And if you, by the way, someone's asking, please resend the link. If you unlocked your reward, if you got 3 people to subscribe, but you lost the link or you feel like you didn't get it yet, please reach out to support@upviral.com. I will be happy to help. I just make sure it's clear, like, hey, I invited 3 of my friends during the live cast, but there's this tool, like, and then we can actually check if you actually got 3 of your friends to subscribe, or we can get you that tool. Cool. All right, let's dive into the next video. We sort of finished the introduction sequence where I shared my indoctrination sequence, where I shared various of my some tricks that I'm using in that email. Next, I want to go into the value sequence. So that's going to be the next video. I'm just going to zoom in. Going to make sure you can see my screen to make sure all live casters right here. Cool. Next time for the next video. Let's do it. I can actually expand it. Like that. Cool. Let's do it. So in the last section, we spoke about the indoctrination sequence. That's the first email that you're sending out to start building a relationship with your audience, whoever opts into your list, right? But obviously, a relationship of trust doesn't happen in just one email, right? It's created over time. And that's why for the next phase, to get people to know, like, and trust you and your brand, I would highly recommend you to send out a value sequence. And the goal of this sequence, this goal of these emails, is to get people to know, like, and trust you by establishing yourself as an expert and just to be different. Because I'm assuming that if you have opted into anyone in your industry, any competitive business, then quite often they're going to be quite aggressive in terms of trying to get you to buy something, right? But if you send out a series of emails that with absolute value to whoever opted into your email list, without trying to trick them, without trying to sell them anything, true value that will help them where they want to be on the specific topic that you're talking about, on the specific business that you are in. If you do that and just that, you will build a relationship that's based on trust. So again, absolutely no selling. And optionally, if you want to do it really, really well, you could send out emails. And optionally, if you want to do it really, really well, inside those value emails, you would be making them aware of the problem that you are solving. Because again, every business and in any industry, doesn't matter whether you're B2B or B2C, you're solving a certain issue. So for example, if I would look at one of my businesses, which is Connect.io, it's all about Facebook ads. So one of my value sequences, I'm giving awesome value about how to be better at Facebook ads. I don't pitch my product. I don't give anything. I don't do anything like that. It's just to build the relationship. Now, if I would be, I'll share my example sequence in just a little bit. But if I would be able to, I'll share you my example sequence in a bit, but honestly, I could actually improve the sequence by, even though I'm not gonna sell, I could be making them aware of the problem they're having. So for example, like, hey, you need to create custom audiences, but obviously it is time consuming. There are ways to automate that, but we'll talk about that later, which obviously one of our tools that we do is automating that from A to Z. It's called Connect Automate. Right now, I'm not mentioning that, but the whole goal of this is after people opted into your list and they got your indoctrination email, they're then getting a series of email where you just provide value. And we're doing that for a specific reason, which I'm going to talk about in the next video as well. So right here, you're seeing an example of So right here, you're looking at one of my examples, one of my own come on, Wilco, focus. So right here, you're looking at one of my own value sequences. Now, obviously, you can download these values, come on. So right here, you're looking at one of my own value sequences. And below this video, you should find a download link to the PDF so you can actually read it through yourself. So I don't have to actually go through that in this whole video with you. But as you can see in that PDF, this whole email is just providing value. I'm sharing tips on how to be better at Facebook ads for the sole purpose of trying to get people to basically build a relationship based on trust. So various emails. This is email number 2, where it's all about giving them suggestions about Facebook ads. And there's going to be 3 emails in this sequence, which I feel as enough. 3 email. Hold on, I was switching my screen for those of you who are watching live. 3 emails should be enough to be different. I mean, after all, at some point you do want to get people to, become a customer, and you don't want to spend hours and hours, and you don't want to spend weeks and weeks to do that, because time, come on, Wilco, focusing. You don't want to, come on, what was I saying? Sorry, that's what happens. We'll just edit this part out. I'll just have to wrap the email up. It's always funny. This is why I don't like doing lives, because it makes it clear that I'm making a ton of mistakes. But at least it's just my inner circle who's watching, which is good. The people who I know, like, and trust. That's good. Cool. So I need to wrap this video up. So I'll trust Geoffrey, my editor, that he will do something clever with it and it will be smooth. So the point being is that once people opted into your list, you should be sending epic value to start that relationship of trust. And in the next video, I'm showing you one of the reasons why we're doing this, besides the obvious, besides the trust building itself. All right, that was the end of that video. My apologies for not being perfect right there. Trying to Right, let's just keep on going for the second video. Hopefully, let me just check the chats. Hopefully, people are not laughing. I appreciate that, Mitch. Mitch is saying you're human. We all make mistakes. All right. By the way, that like all those emails, they're going to be in the course that I'm actually put. So the PDF is not available right here, but we're gonna, once the whole course has been created, that's going to be in the dashboard of the course. So we'll get all the email swipes and all that as PDF resources in that course. Just to make sure we're clear on that. Let me just dive into the next video, which is going to be about interest-based segmentation, right? I'm just going to check something. And I want to make sure that you all who are live can see this as well. I should actually, let me just move this one. Can I just, oops, to them. I'm just going to make a quick change. I think this would be better if I move this to the left, because that would allow me to have more space. Do it like that. Sometimes stuff is too obvious. This way there's more space to have everything on. Sorry, let's continue with the next video. So in the last video, so once you're sending out these value-based emails, you're obviously going to start a So once you're sending out these value-based emails, you're obviously starting a relationship built on trust, but that's not all we're doing. At the same time, we're trying to see who is interested in what certain areas. So for example, when I'm sending out a value-based sequence about Facebook ads, I make it very clear that those emails are about Facebook ads, right? It all starts from the title itself. The title from the email would make sure it is something related to Facebook ads. I wouldn't say something like, hey, check this out, but instead I would give something like, hey, use this to improve your Facebook ads, for example. And this way I know that only people who are interested in Facebook ads, they are going to be opening that email. And even better, I'll make sure there's some kind of a link inside that email as well, in an ideal case, something like a resource or something like that, because this way I know when people actually click out because this way I know that once people actually click out on that link, these people, they are going to be interested in Facebook ads. And the whole goal of this is to create segments of people on my email list, so I know exactly, right? So based on this value sequence, I now know that this person, this group of people, they're interested in Facebook ads, right? And I can send them an offer about that. But later on, because some people may not be interested in Facebook ads, later on I send them another value sequence, for example, about email marketing. And some people click on that, on the link, because they want to read about it. At that point, I know, they're interested in, guess what? Email marketing. And this way, instead of seeing everyone as the same thing, everyone seeing as one big list, I now create different sub-segments on my email list, and I know exactly what people are interested in. Because once again, we need to make sure we send the right message to the right person at the right time. And this will help you make sure that if you have a promotion later on, which is specifically, for example, about Facebook ads, or specifically about baking bread, or whatever your business is in, you know exactly who's going to be most likely to respond to that. And the way we do that is in order to get that done, there's a couple of steps you need to do in order to get this done. Step one is list the main areas that you're in your industry that you could use to create content or is relevant to your product, right? So for example, in my marketing, it would be interesting to know who is interested in Facebook ads, because one of my products is all about Facebook ads, right? I would not be interested knowing if someone is, for example, interested in breeding a dog or whatever, like that is not relevant. But what kind of messaging or what kind of story ideally would you know? Like you probably know a couple of sub-markets in your industry, right? Some specific things that you're like, hey, if they're interested in this particular thing, I know I can send them an offer about that later on. And it's really important. Every business is different, but it's really important to list that out. And these could be different things. could be, for example, specific. It could be a way of using your product. Like for example, in my case, if we're doing an agency version of any of my tool, I know that's only going to be relevant for those who have an agency, who have a team of people building it. So I may be sending out content specifically for them. And if they click on that, I know, they're actually interested. They're probably an agency, right? And most common is like, and the most common is to use topics, right? So for example, traffic generation, Facebook ads, list building, email marketing, could be anything. And I wouldn't go as far of like creating 10 different ones, but like between 3 and 6 would be ideal, because you're not going to create content for like 10 things because you're not going to create content about 10 different topics, right? Between 3 and 6 would be perfect. And you don't have to use this right away, but this is a way of enriching your database, enriching your list, so that later on you will know, but as a side effect of sending out the value-based automation, you will know exactly who's interested in what. So if you want to reach out to a specific targeted submarket on your email list, you actually can. So that's the first step. List the main things that you in your industry that you could. So that's the first step. List those topics. Second step is to make sure it's clear what the email and the link is about. As I mentioned, in the title of your email, it should be clear that that is what it's about. Because if you're being vague, then you may actually attract the wrong kind of people. Even though a vague title, as I mentioned in one of the earlier videos in the first section of this course, may actually get a higher open rate. It may actually get people to like, I want to open this because they're curious. But for this purpose, it's better to be very clear what it's about, so you get the right kind of people, because you're using that later on for your segmentation. And then thirdly, if you have a link inside your email, and I'll show you this in more detail in a later video, I'll show you exactly how to implement this using ActiveCampaign. But in a nutshell, when you link to on ActiveCampaign to a certain link, you can add a link in your email, and what happens is obviously if people click that link, they're going to open that particular link. But what you can do at that same time is you can say, when a contact clicks on the link, add a tag interest-FB ads, for example. So what I've done is I've created a couple of different like these. So what I've done is I've created various of these kind of similar tags. They all start with interest and then dash and then whatever they're interested in. Again, between 3 and 6 is perfect. And now every single time I do a value-based email, or if I send out a broadcast later on, which is specifically about Facebook ads, I'll make sure to add this tag right here. So over time, I'm accumulating everyone who seems to be interested in Facebook ads because they click on something that is about Facebook ads. They are going to get this tag. Now, I don't want you to think about Facebook ads. That's just my example. This could be anything, any topic inside your business. And if you're sending out something in the future, whether it's a value-based email, as I just mentioned, or whether it's a different, even if it's a promotion, if people click on that, use that information. That's the whole point of this video, to start using information like that to segment parts of your email list. So you now know, instead of having 1,000 people on your list, you have like 300, they're like hyper interested in that part. They're 500, they're interested in this part, and maybe 600 in this part, because obviously there could be overlap. And so that is step number 3. And then step number 4 would be to send promotions to those who have a certain interest tag, right? So only if they actually have that tag you're sending out. So that way you can send out promotions without annoying people who aren't interested. Now, there's obviously the question when you're doing all of this is, let's say you are sending out a value-based email sequence and you are creating a segmented part of your email list, right? For example, about a certain subtopic like Facebook ads. The question is like, would it be best to only send out a promotion to that specific submarket instead of just the whole email list? The answer is, in my own experience, it actually depends. But what I found is the best thing to do is, even if you have a promotion that you would like to go out to your whole list, because sometimes you have a special offer. For example, you bring a new product to the market, or perhaps you're delivering a service and you want to do a discount, or you have something extra. Either way, you want to get the word out about a product or service to the world with your email list, and you don't want to just send it out to a third of your email list, but you want to send it out to everyone. Now, guess what? Using this, you can still do that. Let's say you have some people who are interested in topic number A, others in topic B, others in topic C. Instead of sending one email to your whole list about the same email, same messaging, you're going to create separate emails for each of those segments, right? In one email, hey, you're interested in Facebook ads, and I know that. Like, so the reason why this offer is so awesome is because of this and this reason, but you want to make sure that it's clear that it is, like, if they're interested in Facebook ads, they're going to need this product, right? For example, I could be talking about a viral in my case, and I could say, hey, if you're interested in Facebook ads, I know Facebook ads, but they're also expensive, and you want to build up your list. So a good way to add more emails from your Facebook ads, like if you're running Facebook ads, you want to get more leads to your list, more bang for your buck, you need to use a viral, right? And another segment, maybe I know they're interested in email marketing, then it's kind of obvious, right? I'm sending them an email saying, hey, you're interested in email marketing. If you want to build up your list faster, you need to use a viral, right? In other words, I can still send out my promotion to everyone on my list, but I'm making sure that every segment gets a different email message. And usually I wouldn't even rewrite the whole email. Oftentimes it's just that first paragraph, right? But it all starts by thinking of like those 3, 4, 5, or 6 critical topics inside your business, and like what can you use later on, and just start giving those tags to people. If people click on your link that is specifically about a certain topic, add that tag, and then you don't have to worry about that for a while, but then later on you can go back to your email account and you're like, hey, I know exactly these 500 people, they're interested in this particular thing, but the other people, they're not, and that's fine. But that way you can actually improve your messaging, and that is what's called interest-based segmentation, segmenting your email list based on what they're interested on. And again, in another video, I'm showing you inside my ActiveCampaign account so you can see exactly how it's all set up on my end. All right, that video went a little bit longer than I was hoping for, but it is what it is. Cool. I hope I gave you, like, I also hope, like, I know this may not be for everyone yet. Maybe some people are thinking like, I don't even have an email list, right? And that's fine. What I'm sharing in this course, like some things I would highly recommend you to put in use right away. But some things I want you, even if you're not at the place to use it right now, I want you to know that it's possible. Because there's going to be a time where you're going to think back like, oh, this is the moment, right? Because obviously if you have 200 people on your email list, I wouldn't start like worrying too much about interest-based segmentation, but it's good to know that, think of like, hey, I can do it in segments and I don't have to write an email to my full list, but I can be more specific and more targeted. Even though it's not for use right now, then maybe later on it is. Well, other parts of this course, they may be more relevant right now, right away, such as, for example, even if you don't have an email list yet, and yes, we're going to talk about building up your email list. I'm diving more in depth into that tomorrow, how to build up your email list, even if you don't have one yet. But you want to make sure that certain parts are in place, right? So you want to make sure, for example, the indoctrination email sequence that I have, like once you get people to opt into your list, there's 2 things you can do. You can either just have people opt into your list and think like, oh, what do I do now? Or make sure that once people opt into your list, they start the relationship from trust, like with the indoctrination email sequence. So like there's things you can have in place, even if you don't have an email list or don't have a big email list yet. Anyway, just wanted to make that clear. Let me just dive back into the comments. Cool. I even see people from my team as well chatting. Joy, welcome to the house. Cool, cool, cool. Where's my mouse? Can you give an example for travel business? Good question. And by the way, if you have any questions or you want to know how something is related to your business, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll try to answer. Can you give an example for a travel business? It's a good question. Obviously, like I can actually give you a good example. Like when you're like a travel business, I would say there's certain critical different styles of traveling, right? I mean, someone may go for a super luxurious hotel, but someone else may they want to go to the outback and they want to camping gear, right? So if you're sending out awesome, valuable content of like, this is what you should look at, this is how you find the best luxurious hotels, or the top 20 luxurious hotels, or something that's clear, it's about like super fancy hotels, and people click on that, interest, fancy hotel, add that tag. And then, I don't know, maybe you're sending out a value email. So like, hey, these are the 13 things you should not forget when you go camping in Australia, or like whatever, like, right? Or go camping in the bush and with wild animals. People who click on that, they're interested in the outdoors and, you know, camping. This is a typical, this is an example, but basically think of like different parts of in your market, and try to basically make a clear distinction by sending out valuable content that they're just enjoying, they're not being sold to, and even if they are being sold, right? Even if you would send out a promotion like, hey, we got a discount on this fancy pantsy hotel, right? While doing that, and while doing whatever you're doing already, make sure that if people click over to that link, add a tag. These people are interested apparently in fancy pantsy hotels, right? And that way, later on, if you're sending out another promotion, you can hyper target that segment of people. So I hope I answered your question there. Let's see. What when people have multiple interest tags? Good question. I'm actually going to draw that out, because again, I want to make sure I'm all clear. I want to make sure, provide epic value right here. So let's say you have an email list, right? This is our email list. There's all kinds of people, and we have a segment, people who are interested in a certain topic, 1. And there's also this right here, certain topic 2, right? And there's overlap. There's people who have just that one. There's people who have this one, like both, sorry, like they're in this area right here, and there's in this one. So what would you do? Because you don't want to send, let's say I want to send out an email and I want to make sure that everyone gets the email, but I want to make it more specific. What do? I wouldn't send out to this and this and this, because if I would, then people who are in here, they get like multiple emails. That would not be a good idea. So basically what I would do is I would think like, what's the most obvious connection? So perhaps like in the example that I gave before, email would be most, like let's say email is most common. I would first send out an email to everyone who has this tag. Like with the angle of like, hey, if you're having email, like you need to have it viral. And then I'm sending out another tag with everyone who has another email with everyone who has this tag, but I exclude, so you can say everyone who has this tag, but does not have this tag, right? Because that way I'm making sure that those people are not getting the email again, and you can still send out an email. So I hope I answered that correctly. Unfortunately, I cannot show it to you on my laptop how it's working on ActiveCampaign, but basically you're sending out one campaign where you say like, where if tag is interest email, for example, that's one email, and then the other email, so you say tag is interest interest Facebook ads, and the tag is not, so is not interest email, to make sure that if someone has a tag interest email, then obviously they are not gonna get that email. So I hope I answered your question there. That is how I do it for if people have multiple tags. Cool. Breaking my stuff down. We'll get that fixed. Hopefully, let me just put that out of the way, out of the screen. Let me see if it's, oh yeah, that's the TV. Cool. If there are any other questions that I missed. Ajmal says like, whether it's a worthwhile strategy, it sounds like a lot of work. Honestly, personally, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible, for those who don't know. So what I do is these value sequences that I have, like again, I wrote those a long time ago, right? I'm all about setting it up once, using it for a long time. And I'll show you later on how I've set it up exactly, or at least that's going to be in the course. What was I going to say? So yeah, so I wouldn't, so like adding that little tag, I'm going to click out, that should be just second nature. If I add a link, hey, what is this about? Add that interest tag, and don't, like, other than that, forget about it basically. Like, it's not important until you get like more people on your list. If you get like, I would say more than 5,000 probably, like And then still, I wouldn't go up and all creative and writing 3 complete emails. I would just write an email, duplicate that same email, just, and just changing the first 1 or 2 sentences to make sure that their first response is going to be like, hey, this is something for me, right? It's all about efficiency. Yes, it would be better to write a full email, like specifically towards that specific audience, but I want to be clever with my time as well. So I usually just change the first 1 or 2 sentences to am I out of focus? I am out of focus. Let me just back in focus. Yeah. So that's how I do it. Cool. Oh, and I see a great insurance industry question, William. So now I have to look for the question. Insurance business is regulated. Any outside the box ideas for something complementary or info-based or something to incentivize them? I'm not familiar at all about the insurance regulation. So if I'm being completely honest, I have no clue what is allowed and what is not allowed. So I would only be guessing. I have no clue what's allowed or what's not allowed. So unfortunately, I cannot answer that question with my full knowledge. I wish I could. Is it visible? Let me just put it like that, because I think it's good to dive back into another video. Cool. Tim. So there's one thing I want to, while we're talking, boom. Again, for the value sequence, I've got this implementation video where I'm going to show on my screen exactly how I set it all up. I cannot do that live, unfortunately, so that will be part of the course, and that's where I'll show exactly in my account how to set it all up, to be completely fair. Next will be the special offer sequence. Now, I want to make clear, like, obviously, this is all going to be even better, like, as someone just asked, like, hey, from how many email addresses is this going to be relevant, right? Obviously, more is always better, right? Not always, obviously, but like if you have an email list with more people, it's always better. And that's like, obviously, the reason why I'm sharing all of this is to make sure that once people if you get people onto your email list, then the chances and likelihood of you actually getting people to buy something from you is way higher, right? Because as you also know, like at UpViral, we focus on making sure people build a massive email list, but we don't always, like, we don't have enough information of like, what do you do after? How do you make sure that people, once they get people onto your list, how do you make sure you maximize the likelihood of growing your business and actually making more sales from your email list? Now, some of you though, like you don't have UpViral yet, which I don't know why, but I'm kidding. You don't have UpViral yet, that's fine. Some of you have, which is awesome. But I wanted to share a little bit of an experience with me that I had before, because like I've been working at UpViral for a couple of years now, as some of you know, and I remember the first couple of years, 2 years or so after I created UpViral and we put it out there, every time when I went to an event in the United States, usually these events, like there's big marketing events, like from recently I went to Traffic and Conversions, for example, from Ryan Deiss. I'm not sure, was anyone there at Traffic and Conversions? Let me know. So I was there recently. Last year I went to Funnel Hacking Live. If anyone's been there as well, let me know. I'd love to hear. Anyway, I've been going to these events, and for me it's a long flight, right? So you're there, and for the first couple of years after I created UpViral and we were working on it, like it was amazing how many people walked up to me and like, hey, awesome, welcome to Cry. Hey, I know your product. Like I have UpViral. And I would ask them, like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, tell me how's it going, right? Tell me about it. And they're like, oh, yeah, I have it, but I didn't get to it yet. Like, but it looks cool. I'm like, damn it, right? And if I'm being completely honest, like a couple of years ago, it was all about, when we just started with UpViral, it was about how do we get people in? And that was basically like, obviously it was a good product, but like we focused on getting people in. And every time I went to this event, like initially the first time I was like, cool, people are, they have UpViral. And then it got me thinking like, damn it, like they have UpViral, but they're not using it yet, which is an issue, right? This is not good. So we've been putting a lot of focus on getting people to use it, making it more powerful, easier to use, and there's some real cool stuff coming for that. Anyway, that's for later. But that's been our focus. And last year, I went to Funnel Hacking Live, and that was from the event from Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. And for the first time, it happened to me. Like, I got so many people walk up to me, and like, awesome, I got it viral, and I got X amount of leads with it. And I'm like, yes, finally. Not like before, it was always like, I have a viral, but I haven't used it yet. I'm like, that's not good. Like, perhaps I'm doing a good job as a marketer, but not as a business owner, because my goal is to make sure our customers get results, right? So when I was there last year at the Funnel Hacking Live, people were just like, they were coming at me and like, holy crap, like, it's amazing because I've grown my list like this or my business like this thanks to a viral. And that, to me, that's what it's all about, right? But at the same time, I'm gonna be honest here, I am a marketer. So probably on day 2, I was talking with some friends. I'm not sure if he's here. It was Neil Napier, for example. I spoke with him. I talked to him about it. Like, oh, it's so cool. People are walking up to me. They're using it. They're getting results. Like, I finally, like, it's, you know, I know we're helping business owners, but now you get to talk to them. It's just an amazing thing. And I thought, I'm not sure, but I think it was Neil who told me that, like, dude, you should ask them for a video testimonial. Like, shoot a video. I'm like, I totally should, right? So while I was on the event, after that, when people walked up, I just said like, hey, awesome, can you please, you know, do that on video, just, you know, so other people can see it as well. And I've got like, I think like 15 or 18, something like that, videos. And I'm not gonna show all of these videos because they would be boring, but I just wanna show 3 quick ones because, you know, for me, that was truly an experience to just get to feel the impact that we had with the viral. So I just quickly want to play that video. It gives me a quick 3-minute break, 2-minute break, and then we'll go back into the next video.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I just want to take a quick minute, Wilco, and just give you a shout for UpViral. So my name is Brian Bowman. I run a community called Ecom Underground, and we only focus on e-commerce sellers and turning them into just badass marketers. That is what we focus on. And one of the tools that we consistently use, literally every single time, when we do our giveaways, when we do our funnels, on the thank you page, I don't even know if I should share this because it works so well. We use UpViral and we consistently get a 10 to 15% bump on our email opt-ins. It's like literally finding 15% more emails for free just by installing a little snippet of code. So I just want to tell you, man, thank you so much for developing the software. You always come out with amazing products. And I actually have, I shouldn't even admit this, I have a product of yours that I bought but I haven't even used yet. And I'm literally, after tonight, I'm realizing I have to go check it out. So thank you so much for what you do. And yeah, love you, man.
Hey, what's up? My name is Dewey Denning. I'm a digital marketing agency owner. I have multiple clients, mostly in the B2B space. I also have implant funnels for dentists. And essentially, how we use UpViral is we use on the thank you page. So obviously, we want to get more organic reach. We want to pay for less traffic if it's at all possible. And so we found UpViral to be the most effective tool in this, just because when it lands on the thank you page, we have a bonus content video basically. And we say, if you want to access this video, then you've got to share it. And of course, UpViral tracks it very well. And if the person actually shares it, unlocks the bonus content, boom, they get it. And so, of course, when they're sharing, we get more organic reach and bigger ROI for us and our clients. So I would definitely recommend it if you're thinking about it. You absolutely need to just at least try it. So go ahead and do that, and you'll probably be in one of these videos like me pretty soon.
Hi guys, I'm David Moore from Toronto, Canada, and UpViral was actually my first ever page builder that I've used. I had no experience with whatsoever with marketing or any idea about anything, but I just thought it was a cool idea to get people not only to opt in, but also sharing, and then you get all these cool leads from different places. So I had different types of success with this type of system. One of the biggest thing, my takeaway from UpViral, is that it depends on what you're actually sharing to the audience. I had ups and downs with it. One of my projects, I did a PDF guide about social media kind of marketing. I put a lot of different social media stuff inside, all sorts of goodies. And then on the share page, I just said, hey, you want to get this, this, and this also? Just click this button. I'm going to send you an email, share it with your friends. and that thing just kind of blew up, and a lot of people were sharing, and I was getting a lot of leads. So it was really, really cool. Obviously, I do recommend it. Try it out, check it out, and definitely that's my take on it. Thank you so much.
All right, so yeah, that was truly cool to see, to talk to people and see the impact. Well, with that having said, let's dive into the next video, because so far, today we've basically been talking about indoctrination sequence, and I've been sharing some personalization tricks and cool tips and tricks there. For example, adding the name, adding their country, doing the Gmail, Hotmail live hack, basically, the value sequence, making sure, talking about segmentation. But like obviously when people opt into your list and you start building that relationship trust, that's not enough for people to actually start buying, right? Like you need to make sure you have a good offer. You need to make sure that people actually are in some shape or form, I would say, pressured to make a decision. That sounds like harsh, but basically it's very easy for consumers or for people to just think like, oh yeah, I'll get this at some point, right? And it's not about like they have to buy, but it's about getting to a point to at least make a decision. Is this something for me or is this not something for me? And even before that, they should actually think like, hey, you know, like how do we actually convince people to do that, right? So for that reason, the next sequence I want to go into, which you could also not automate it, you could also do it as a broadcast. I'm going to give you an example and all that, is what's called a special offer sequence. That's what I'm going to in this section. We're going to have 3 videos. One of them is not going to be live, unfortunately, because of the laptop. Told you that. So in this first video, I'm going to dive into the special offer sequence. I'm going to give you an example of one of my sequences, and I have a real cool unsubscribe hack, which you can use for any promotion, which is something I haven't seen many people do, but it's super effective, especially if you want to keep your list happy, right? And I think that's more important now, more important than ever. While in the past, people were just blasting out emails, but it's not just, you know, you're not just, basically if you're getting people on your list, it's not leads, it's actual people on your list. It's like sending an email to your neighbor or to your friend, right? That's how I look at it. Using the unsubscribe hack, you can make sure people will stay happier on your list. So I'll talk more about that in the next video. First video is what I call the special offer sequence. Before I go live, let me just quickly check the chat. Cool. Yeah, David, it's MindNode indeed. I see that you just checked in. Cool. Right, with that having said, let me just go and zoom in on the right section so you can all see it, and I'll get back for another video. The special offer sequence. Cool, like that. Let's do it. I'm gonna repeat myself a little bit because some of the things I just mentioned to you guys and girls live, I just want to make sure it's in the video as well. Hope you'll excuse me for that. So once you've got people onto your list and you've sent them once people opted into your list and you've sent them an indoctrination email and perhaps even a value sequence to start a relationship based on trust, it's not like people are suddenly just going to buy all of your products. Sure, some people will, but most often people will need to be sort of forced to make a decision with your company to decide like, hey, is this something I want to buy or is this something I don't want to buy? And obviously we want to make sure the odds are in our favor. And for that reason, I want to talk about the special offer sequence. And this is something that we're going to do, like basically sending out a special offer to your audience, because if an offer is special, and I'll talk to you about how to do that in just a little bit, if an offer is different than what the usual offer is, you can also remove that offer. So what do I mean with a special offer? So let's imagine you're selling a certain product or a certain service. It doesn't really matter. There's basically two things you can do to create a good offer. One thing is you can reduce the price. You can say, hey, we've got a discount. And especially if you're, for example, in e-commerce, that's very common, right? It's a very common thing to do, to discount your product, because that way you can say like, hey, we've got a discount for a short period of time, and we're actually gonna, increase the price to our regular price right after. I mean, that is why Black Friday is huge, because it works, right? But that's not the only way. Because for example, if you're a service-based business, oftentimes you don't want to discount your product or service, right? You don't want to say like, hey, my usual fees is like X, Y, or Z, but now it's cheaper, because then what's going to happen next week? People are going to like, hi, but I can have it for the same price as you did last week. So oftentimes you don't want to do that. So instead of reducing the price, you could also add more things to it. For example, you can add bonuses. You can add things that will make your product even better, but you will only add that to the product or to the service if they get access to it in that specific time window, right? So that's how we can create a special offer, make it more compelling for people to sign up for your product or service during a specific time window. Now, once you have a product or an offer like that, obviously you want to make sure your email list knows about it, right? It's not like they're gonna discover it all of a sudden. And also, you don't just want to send out one email and then think people will know and people will make a decision. That's unfortunately not enough. People will need to see your offer multiple times. And again, we need to make sure that we are doing everything we can to convince them that your product or your service will help them to resolve the problem that they're having. And obviously there's many flows and many templates and many ways you can do that. But in this particular example, I want to go over one of my special offer sequences, and I want to share with you, break it down with you how we're doing that, because there's a couple of key elements that we're using. And in order to make sure that people will actually decide in your favor, we need to, hold on, this is in the wrong order, my apologies. Sometimes MindNode fix, oh no, that's not what I wanted. No, this should be last. So as part of this sequence, there are a couple of key elements that I always use. So first of all, we need to make them an offer. We need to make sure they know about the offer, what it is. Secondly, social proof. It's very important to have some kind of social proof, because if I'm saying like, hey, my product is awesome, then obviously then it's just me saying as the business owner, but it's my product, so I'm biased. So if people see that other people are talking about my product or service and other people are recommending my product or service, and that's going to be way more powerful. So it's always good to communicate social proof, things like testimonials and case studies from other customers that you already have and you have permission from to use it. Now, thirdly, they're still going to have some obstacles and objections. They may still think, oh, it's great, but it's not for me because of this and this reason. That you want to make sure that whatever objections that you may have, you're not going to ignore them. We're going to address them in an email as well. And then finally, scarcity. We're going to make sure, right? So we've communicated this offer, and these are all these other people that are enjoying our product, right? It's actually good, and you have these concerns. Here are the things that to overcome these concerns. But now it's time to make a decision. Like, we are removing the actual offer, we're increasing the price again, or we're removing some of the bonuses. So you need to make a decision before the deadline. If not, then these bonuses go away or the price goes up. And this forces people to don't just think like, oh, I'm gonna make that decision at some point and then end up forgetting about it, but it makes sure people actually have to decide on this. And I know for some people this may seem like a marketing or a salesy kind of tactic, but the proof is in the pudding. Like, it works. Like, every single time when we do an offer like this, most customers actually come in on the last day, because people need that sort of edge to actually nudge, or however you want to call it, to get them over the finish line and to actually make sure they make a decision whether they're in or not. Cool. Again, this is in a completely wrong order. Let me just fix that. Like that. As an example, I want to go over one of the special offers I've been sending out to our customers when we launched Connect Explore. And I want to go through these emails so you know exactly why we're doing certain things and how we're doing it. Cool. Let me just, hopefully you can still see this for those who are live. Obviously in the course, there's going to be a PDF with all these emails to see. So in the very first email, we're not just going to say we have a special offer. Instead, what we're doing at the very first part is making sure that people are aware of the problem it actually solves. So in this case, we're saying like, hey, Facebook advertising can be a real moneymaker, but too often it's not. Why? Because it's difficult to find the right interest to target. And right now it involves way too much guesswork. You won't know whether you're targeting the right audience without complicated split testing and pouring a lot of ad spend down the drain to get it right. And yes, I've learned this the hard way. What if you could eliminate the hassle? So right now, all we've done is say like, hey, there's like Facebook ads is awesome, but here's a problem. And this could be the case in your product or service as well. It solves a certain problem. And at the very first part of the email, we're making people clear what the problem is. We're not just saying at the very start, hey, we have a special offer, because that would not work. And once we make sure that we have like that initial problem described, we're saying like, hey, you know, well, now you can with Connect Explore. Watch the demo here. So now it's like, hey, we have this product. And at this point, this was a new product. So that's why, at this point, it was a new product. And that's why we didn't say like, hey, there's a special discount just yet. And that's, I'll just go into basically explaining the offer, what it is. It sounds good. Wait till you check out the demo. Just trying to get people to click on the link to make sure they actually check it out. Just making sure you can all see it. On the second day, I focus more on social proof. In other words, testimonials, making sure it's not just me who's saying that it's awesome, but our customers and other people are recommending the tool as well. So in this particular email, I just try to keep it lightweight. I try to keep it personal. That's more of my personal preference. But as you can see, I said like, hey, let's get to things straight. I'm a nerd. I'm really a nerd. I'll tell you why in a bit. And what I'm doing here is just opening the loop and making people curious, like, why is that actually? I'm making sure that that's later on in the email, hooking them in. Just like I mentioned in one of the earlier videos in the beginning of this course, it's always good to have a hook at the very early part of your email. And then And then what I do after is, as you probably know, we released Connect Explore a few days ago, not because we wanted to throw something out, not because we thought we could sell a bunch, but because I believe this truly helps people big time. So you can imagine how I felt when I logged into Facebook yesterday, because the first thing I saw was this, and then I added in screenshots. So right here, for example, someone who said like, hey, bought it yesterday and this thing is kicking ass on my best ad sets. In other words, they are using the product and they're getting the results that my customer want as well. And that's basically what I do. I add in screenshots from customers and testimonies from people who've used our product. And that's the whole goal. So trying to grab their attention and then pivoting their attention to like, hey, this is what other people are saying about the product. And I try to do it in a bit of a story-based way, but that's not required. That's just my personal preference. You could even literally send out an email saying like, hey, here's what other people said about X, Y, or Z, about your product or service, right? And then make sure you have those testimonials. Now, in case you don't have any customers just yet, what you could do is you could even give your service or give your product to someone else for free. And then it's like, hey, what did you think about this? Like honestly ask them, and then ask them, hey, can I use that with and share that with my audience? And obviously you always want to make sure that you check your local legal laws, because it could be that some countries there are different laws regarding social proof and testimonials. I'm not an expert at any of those laws in any particular country except for the Netherlands, obviously. So that's always important to take into account. But that's what we focus in the second day, making sure there's social proof involved. And on the third And after I made them an offer, and after I've communicated the social proof, there may still be things that, what was I saying? This is annoying. Wilco, focus. My apologies. And after I made them an offer and I communicated all social proof, then the next thing I want to make sure is to overcome their objections, because there may still be things that they're in the back of their mind. They're like, I'm not really sure. And obviously in your business, in your industry, you may be better suited to answer that. And a typical one could, for example, be like, is this actually really good? Like, would I get my money back if it's not good? Like, that's for an example of an objection. Like, if they're not completely sure, they may not actually buy. Or for example, does this work in my industry or in my market? Or like, whatever people may think. And an easy way to discover what objections people may have is to actually talk to people in your industry. Talk to them about your offer, get them on the phone and just describe the offer and listen to the questions they're asking you, because that's usually the fastest way to learn to learn what's holding them back before making that buying decision. Now, I could come up with some kind of a clever story-based email of overcoming all the objections, but that's actually not what I'm doing. I'm actually sending out a very simple email like this. And this is something I'd highly recommend you to do as well. So usually I say something like, hey, yesterday I invited you into the early bird of Connect Explorer. Clearly I got the dates wrong here. You can also do this before the social proof email, obviously. And I just sent, something like, hey, since we got a lot of questions as well, I wanted to send out a quick Q&A email, questions and answer. And then I'll just list all kinds of questions that I want to make sure people know about, right? So for example, what is Connect Explorer? Like, what is the product or service? Because some people, they haven't really checked out the offer that you have. They're not really clear what your product or service is. So this gives you a good way to have, like, in a bullet point format, describe in just a couple of sentences what your product actually is. Like, an objection may be like, but it's too difficult. So I'm asking, is it easy to use? Yes, sir. We made it a priority to make it easy to use. Does this interest per interest breakdown work on my existing ads as well? Like, that's another objection very specific to this product. Yes, it works for that as well. But this tool, is it actually approved by Facebook? Is it actually good? Yes, it is 100% approved by Facebook. But I'm not sure how to do it. Is there training included? Yes. So as you can see, this is a real simple format. Just ask a question, answer, and this gives you a good way to overcome all the objections. Because if there is something in the mind of your audience that that's holding them back to make a decision on your product or service, they're seeing this question in bold, they're going to be reading, I was curious about that, right? Is there a guarantee? Yes, there is a 30-day refund guarantee, right? So this is my go-to template for any of those email sequences. It's super effective to make sure people, it's super effective to overcome all the objections, to make sure they are ready for the last day of your special offer. And that is the scarcity day. Just open it up. And on the last day, I typically send out at least 2, sometimes even 3 emails. And the reason for that is pretty simple. I've tested it out to make sure I only send out 1 email on the last day to remind people, like, hey, it's the last day, you need to get access to it today. While on other promotions, I tested it out with 2 or even 3 emails. And every single time I tested it out, the multiple emails outperformed it by a lot. And I mean a lot. So I highly recommend you to send out multiple emails to make sure people don't miss the email until it's already too late. So for example, what I would say is something like, in just 7 hours from now, the Connect Explorer Early Bird will be closed down. So if you want a lifetime account, you know what to do. Once the timer hits 0, there's no going back. So, and then I add a bit of a story. You don't even have to do that. You can keep it super short. It's all about communicating that it's all about communicating that it's time to make a decision. And then I'll send out another email a couple of hours before the deadline. This is the final notice. In 3 hours, this will be gone. Get it here, TalkZone Wilco. Super short, keep it super short. And that is what I found to be the most effective way to make sure people need to make a decision whether they're going to get your offer or not. Let me just, sorry for that. Oop, I just need to. Right. And this is still part of that video. I'm just wrapping it up. And as part of these kind of promotions, like this special offer sequence right here, I'm doing something really cool that maybe you've seen in any of my promotions, which I call the unsubscribe hack. And I'll talk to you about that in the next video. All right, that was that. Was that good? So Art is asking, what is the estimated release date of this course? Now, honestly, I'm assuming that you're asking when it's all ready. So I'll have to check with my video editor. I'm not fully sure because obviously it's going to take time to edit everything. We're already a good bunch of all the resources done, like the PDFs and everything that goes along with it. We're building out the infrastructure for the dashboard and all that. But I am going to say, as a little pitch in between, that there is, like, we're going to sell this later on. That's probably going to be realistically 1.5 months from now, or probably even 2, because we have some other things we need to focus on first in our business. But there is a way to get access to this by the end of this week for free, but not completely free. There is a small catch, but you'll see later on. I don't want to spoil it right now. This is just like for those who are right now live. There's a way you're going to get access to this course if you want to. We'll talk about that later. Cool. For now, let's keep it like that. The unsubscribe hack. That's the next video we're going to talk about. It's been, how long is it? Already over 2 hours. Can you imagine? For those who are still here, people are saying that I'm doing the hard work. You are doing the hard work for sticking with me for that long. So I would say the unsubscribe hack video, that's going to be the last video for today. And then also we're going to pick the UpViral Pro winner right after. So someone's going to win an UpViral Pro account for a whole year for free. And I'll pick the winner right after the next video. And then we're going to leave the webinar follow-up sequence to tomorrow. And there's some really cool tactics inside that one. One that you're especially going to like, and the abandoned cart sequence, something cool there. Implementation and building your list. We're also going to talk about that. So tomorrow is going to be super interesting for those who don't have a list yet. So let's dive into the unsubscribe hack that I'm using in some of my email promotions. Could be in an email automation, or even if you do any kind of promotion as well. Let me check if everything is on screen for those who are. Once again, my note is messing up the order. Let's start with this video. Whenever you're sending out emails to your email list, whether that is a broadcast email or an automated sequence, there's always the risk that you're sending out emails to people who don't want to read that email, but perhaps they are still interested in receiving emails from you. And if you're just sending them emails about a certain promotion, for example, without giving them the option to stop that promotion, then the only option they have is to either keep receiving your emails, which will annoy them and will actually hurt your relationship for the long term, or to unsubscribe from your email list, which is obviously not what you want to do as well. And for that reason, in some of my email promotions and some of my email automations, I have something like this in the footer of my email, something like PPS, not even remotely interested in that offer that's currently going on at that point. Simply click here and I won't email again you about it ever. We'll still be friends, right? And what that's going to do is if they click on that link, that's not going to unsubscribe them from the whole list, but I'm going to make sure that that particular promotion, I'm not going to bother them again, right? Because sometimes it's just not for them. And most email marketers, they don't take that into account. They just send it out and they just assume everyone has to receive it. Now, I'm not always using it, but I should use it a lot more often, because this is just good practice to get people This is just good practice to keep people happy on your list. So here's how you do that. And the first step is to create a page on your website which looks something similar to this page. Let me just put it right for those who are live. Boom. So this is the page. So this is what our page looks like. We created a page on upviral.com which says you're removed. I can confirm that you've been removed from this email segment. This means that you won't get any emails from the current promotion or email sequence anymore. Well done for clicking that link, by the way. I'm all about relevance, and when you're not as interested in some emails I'm sending you, we both lose. We'll still be friends though. We just got to know each other a little bit better, which helps me to send you more relevant emails in the future. You rock, Wilco. So this is just a page where I confirm that they've been subscribed. So this is just a page where I confirm that they've been removed from that particular email segment, which means they're not getting any future emails from that particular promotion anymore. But how does this actually work, right? So that's the first step. Create a page similar like this on your website. Let me just move this over. Step number two is to write something in the bottom of your email, just like I showed you, like a PS, hey, if you're not interested in this promotion. And then what you're going to do is in that link, you're going to link to that particular page. In my case, that is upviral.com/removed. And the reason why I'm creating the page like that without specifying which promotion you're unsubscribing is so that I can use that page over and over and over again, so that from every single email I can send people to that particular page. But in an email, when I actually add the link inside ActiveCampaign, you can say like, hey, when they click this link, I'm going to add the tag opt out and then whatever it's about. For example, opt out promotion upviral, opt out promotion Connect.io, right? So now I know, like, all right, if they click the link from this email, automatically I'm going to add that tag. And the reason why I'm calling it opt out and then dash and then whatever it is just so it's easy to remember what that tag is all about. I know that someone has opted out from a certain promotion without opting out from the whole email list. And it's very important that when you're describing the PPS, just like I'm doing right here, that you're not saying something like unsubscribe here and making that unsubscribe here the link, because most email autoresponders, they will not like that. So if you say something like simply click here and making clear that you'll still be friends, that's my way of saying we'll still be sending you emails, then it's all good. And then step number three is after you've added this, and then step number three is making sure you actually use that tag, because obviously once someone clicks on that link and they go to that page and the tag has been added, nothing will still happen. They will still get your emails unless you do something with that tag. And it depends on whether you're sending out a broadcast email, an email to everyone at the same time, or whether it's an email automation. If it's a broadcast email, then you want to make sure that you exclude the tag. And what I mean with that is you select the option saying like, hey, everyone who does not have the tag, opt out upviral. And obviously in the next video, I'll show you exactly how to set this up if you're using ActiveCampaign. For an automation, you want to make sure that as soon as someone gets that tag, the opt-out tag, they're going to be removed from the automation. They're not going to get the future emails in that automation anymore, because clearly they're not interested. And again, I'll show you that in the next video on my screen, so you know exactly how to set that up. And this is just a good way to making sure you can send out people. This is just a good way to making sure you can send out emails to your email list while giving people the option to say like, hey, this is not for me, but I still want to receive your emails in the future. And this way you're not hurting the relationship while still keeping them on your list. And that is what I call the unsubscribe hack. Cool, that was that. Hopefully that is useful. let me just, so that brings us, like I said, we've been doing quite a few videos already today, but it is time to put it to an end. Which means we're going to pick a winner. So right now, so far, today we've done, let me just, what did we do? We did the indoctrination sequence, the personalization video, the whitelist hack, the language hack video, we did that. We did, the value sequence, like the interest-based segmentation, and we did the special offer sequence and the unsubscribe hack. 8 videos today done during the live stream for the course Email Hacking Masterclass. So that's really cool. But as I mentioned, because I totally appreciate that you're all being here, and below this video you can actually share this with all of your friends. There's a unique invite link using UpViral. Obviously, it's one of the many ways how you can use UpViral to make sure you get a bigger email list, which you all should. And because people have been sharing, every single time someone signs up through your link, right? We automatically keep track of that. There's nothing you need to do. You can just share it on Twitter and on WhatsApp and Messenger, etc. Automatically, if one of your friends signs up, we will keep track of that. And every single time one of your friends signs up through your link, you will get a higher chance of winning. And right now, I'm going to pick a winner for a 1-year Viral Pro account. And just like before, I'm going to check the fraud detection later on, which means that it is possible that I'm going to pick a winner. That if that person has tricked the system, I'll check that in the fraud detection after the live cast. So if that is the case, then I'm going to pick a new winner because I'm going to make sure it's all fair. So assuming that that person has not tricked, I'm going to pick a random winner. Again, the more people you have signed up, the higher chance of winning. And the winner is Elizabeth. Again, I cannot call out the email address right here. Actually, for those of you who want to make sure I'm not making this up, I just picked a winner. Let me just see, can I share my, yeah, boop. So actually, let me pick it first, accept, because yep. So now, sorry for that. We just put my hands here. So you'll see there's 4 winners right now. We got Aaron and Elizabeth. Elizabeth is the last one I picked. And there's obviously 4 because yesterday I picked 2 winners as well. So 2 shirts, 2 Viral Pro accounts. And tomorrow we're gonna share another winner. Pick 2 more winners actually. So hold on. So if you want to have a higher chance of winning, then you want to make sure to share the link between now and tomorrow, because tomorrow we're doing this again at the same time as today, which is 8 a.m. ET New York, and I would love it if all of you are here. And on that, we're going to dive a little bit deeper on more tactics, but also I'm going to dive deeper into actually building your email list, which I know a lot of you people want to do as well, because obviously that's like it. Once you have an email list, that's like basically from the moment I had my own email list, it removed a lot of stress, because at that point you just have an audience that you can rely on, right? Even if all my traffic would suddenly disappear, like I wouldn't have a Facebook ads account, I wouldn't have a Google ads account, all of that, I would still have an email list to rely on. And I mean, most of you are here because I sent out an email, right? And that is the power of an email list. So if you don't have an email list yet, you want to make sure you're here tomorrow, because we're going to dive into that as well. Yeah, I'm just trying to do my best here to provide as much value and helping you all out. So if there's any questions, I know I haven't checked the chat for a little while. So if you have any questions, drop them in the chat right now. Because let's say I'm done with the videos for today, which means let's answer some questions if you have any. I'll just put the TV on the side while you can, it's not rolling, so I can actually get the whiteboard if needed. And I'll just answer a couple of questions before we all head off. And if someone is like, I just came here for the videos, I don't have any questions, and if that is the case, then I would love it if you would come back tomorrow, same time as today. I would really appreciate that. Let's see. Ryan is back tomorrow. That is awesome. Elvin is asking, so I can build an email list using UpViral? Yes, if you have UpViral, you can build an email list. In fact, let me just play a quick video from one of the early users of UpViral, what he did in just 1 month. Hey, I'm out of focus. Yeah, back in focus. Let me play a quick video just to give you a bit of an idea of what is possible with UpViral. I'm not saying this is typical, but what is possible with UpViral. Thanks for getting on the call here today. Like, you've been using UpViral for a while. Could you sort of describe how that's been going on for you? Like, what kind of results have you been getting?
Yeah, I've been getting real good results. And, you know, the thing is, Wilco, I've been using, I've always been doing contests probably for the last 4 or 5 years. And I've always seen the value in doing giveaways and contests for different things. So, and, you know, you had a lot of, you know, I wasn't sure if it was hype or what at first, but when I tried it out, I found that it did exactly what I wanted. So far, it's worked very well. And I like the statistics that it tracks and shows the proof of what I'm getting, where before I'd see the entries, but I wouldn't understand exactly why, you know. So yeah, a lot of good things about using your software so far, man. And
can you give us an indication of how many leads or how many email addresses you've collected so far using UpViral? Do you have any idea?
So far we've got over 100,000. I was just looking at my stats. We're at 104,000. So
that's email subscribers, right?
Yeah. That's the actual leads we've collected, and I've only run mainly three contests over the last month, but the last one we did, we had over 500% compound conversion, you know, mostly through social media. So it seems like we're getting better at it, and I plan to use it a lot more frequently with clients, but also on my own stuff too here. And it's just going to become part of my, you know, every way possible that I can implement it into my content marketing, video marketing, and my client strategies. I'll use UpViral.
One thing I've also so that should give you a pretty good idea. Obviously, I'm not saying it's typical to get over 100,000 leads in the first month, but it definitely shows what's possible. And that gave everyone a bit of a time to ask some question. Wilco, can you comment on an email sending software like SendGrid? Now, I'm assuming if you mention SendGrid, you're not talking about an email autoresponder like ActiveCampaign, but you're talking about like transactional emails. And I think SendGrid is actually pretty good. We use Postmark app as well, Postmark app, but SendGrid is really good as well. We also use that. Pierre, thanks for the kind words. I really do appreciate that. System should have the option to pick the winner who has seen the live course. Yeah, like unfortunately we cannot see that, but I totally agree. I should take that into account for tomorrow. Lynn, thanks for being here. I need to go, move on. Thanks, appreciate that. Conscious preconception, thanks for the kind words. I really appreciate that as well. Let's see if there's any questions. Question: what is the best stage of building an email list to use this software? So we actually have quite a few people that started with 0. But if you're using UpViral, like let me just sketch it out. I want to be as clear as possible. Like basically, as I mentioned before, UpViral works like this, right? So you have an opt-in page where people can enter their email address, and then after, is this clear? Is this on the screen? Yeah. So then after you have the viral incentive, right, where people can opt in, where people can share your message. They get a unique invite link with the share button, and this means that you'll get the viral effect going. But none of this is going to happen unless some people see this page, because if you just create 2 pages and nobody but you and your girlfriend is going to see it, or your friend or whatever, that's not going to be any good. So you need to have initial traffic into this page. Now, there's many ways you can do this, right? For example, you can run Facebook ads. You can reach out to industries, like to partners. What some of our customers have done is pretty cool. They did a contest, right? And they said like, hey, we're going to give away a certain price, right? A certain thing in that industry. And then they reached out to various communities, like forums in that space. And they said like, hey, if we're gonna run this contest and we are gonna promote you to everyone who joins that contest as a return favor, would you be willing to, you know, put our contest on your site? So that was their way of entry, right? Obviously, you need to make sure that it's all compliant with local laws and all that. Just want to make sure that that is accurate. But I'm just saying there's many ways you can do, even if you don't have an email list, you can still kickstart this. You need to make sure people see this. And obviously, and that's something I always keep on saying, the main goal of all of this isn't just to build email lists, but it is to make, let's be honest, money, right? Like we need to make sure that those emails return into sales. And obviously there's many ways how you can do that. Like for example, this particular thing that we're doing right here, like with the viral widget below, I'm not expecting that this campaign that we're doing right here is suddenly going to blow up and collect 100,000 email subscribers. That's not the goal. Ooh, I almost crashed my laptop. That's not the goal of this campaign. The goal of this campaign is really to just give back to our community and to build, to basically enforce the relationship that you and I have, right? And then obviously, yes, I'd love to get more people to see this, and we actually get quite a few people from the referral link, but it's not like we're gonna get like 50,000 leads by tomorrow. That's not gonna happen. But that's also not the goal of this campaign. The goal of this is engagement and just, you know, having fun together. I do have fun while, you know, I had to create this course anyway. Like I was already planning on it, so I figured let's do it together, you and I. It's gonna be more fun. So I hope I answered that question. Let me just go back to the questions. Someone's asking, are you using ClickFunnels and what is your feedback? I am using it. My feedback on ClickFunnels is a good question. I don't think it's the best system, but it's good enough for the reasons where I'm using it. Like personally, like our main pages, you'll see that it is on WordPress. And the reason for that is basically because I want to have like, I think ClickFunnels on itself is good, and the best part is they have a strong community, especially for those who are starting out. And personally, I've learned a lot from Russell Brunson. I've been in his inner circle for a while, so I learned a lot from him as well, from the founder of ClickFunnels. But the problem that I'm personally having is that all ClickFunnels pages, they have the same look and feel. So people who will see your ClickFunnels page, they will already have an assumption about who you are before they know anything. So that's why on my most important pages, I prefer to have custom designed things, but it is a lot harder to create. So ClickFunnels would actually be easier. And I haven't tried many other products yet. So it's okay, I guess. Depends on if you're happy with it, keep using it. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Cool. Gabriel is asking, do you plan to give away some promotional coupons to UpViral? Actually, I didn't want to spoil it, but tomorrow we're going to give away a really big discount for either tomorrow or the day after for UpViral. So yes, there is something coming. That's for, I wasn't planning on releasing that information yet, but yes, now you have it. We are doing a special promo. So if you're on the fence, wait around till tomorrow, I would say. Let's see if there are any other questions. Hopefully. Yeah, one more day. Tomorrow, I'm just scrolling back. Tomorrow is the last day of the live event course creation. So well, again, tomorrow at the same time as today, which is 8 a.m. ET New York. Right now, it's been almost 3 hours, 2.5 hours. So I would say, if you have any questions, feel free to post them tomorrow in the live chat. I'll try to answer them tomorrow, so you have a reason to come back as well, obviously. Let me just go to my final notes to make sure I don't forget anything. I think we're all good. So had a bunch of fun doing this. Again, I hope to see you all tomorrow. We're gonna pick another winner. We're gonna multiple winners actually. We're gonna have a lot of stuff, more tactics and cool tips and tricks for the course. We're also gonna talk about how to actually grow your email list. Yeah, that's the game plan. I'm excited for it, and once again, I'm grateful for everyone who's here. There's currently 150 people watching live, which is amazing. So thanks for those who are here. I really do appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying this as well, and more importantly, I hope you're not just sitting here thinking it's cool, but like actually making notes and thinking how you can implement this into your business, right? Because obviously there's a lot of stuff coming at you at an event like this. The goal isn't to do everything, because if you start trying to do everything, then nothing will happen. But the goal is to write it all down, pick the ones that are like, a couple things that are like, that you think like, this is awesome, this is what I need to do right now. Put the rest aside, and then after you done one of these things that you think is most important, then look at all the other stuff instead of trying to do everything, because then you will get you'll blow your mind up. So obviously, well, later on we're going to go more into the implementation part of all of this. So far I'm just sharing all the emails and campaigns and tips and tricks and all that. So we'll get into that. And with that having said, I hope to see you all tomorrow at 8 a.m. sharp. Yeah, thanks for being here with me today, and see you all soon. I was gonna close it down. My team always makes fun of me because whenever we do a live call, like team meeting, I always finish the call. I didn't notice that until later. I always say like, all right, cool, see you all on Slack. Slack is the internal chat. So they always make fun of me on that. So now they're like, yesterday they thought I was gonna say it here as well. Like, see you all tomorrow on the next video. Anyway, that's just an inside joke for my team. Take care everyone, and talk to y'all tomorrow. Cool, let me stop the stream.